Hello, good afternoon and welcome to coverage of the second match of the Hampshire Hawks Vitality Blast campaign. We have a beautiful day here at the Utilita Bowl. Kent Spitfires are the victors. They come here off the back of an excellent win over Middlesex at Chelmsford in their first game. Hampshire Hawks, of course, played very well for a long time the other day, but just couldn't quite get over the line here against Surrey. All the action coming up on our live stream right here.
Joe, I guess how do you assess Thursday's game against Surrey?
Yeah, it was obviously a tricky start, not the start we wanted. Obviously they're a good side, but we actually did a lot of things right, and there's plenty to build on for another home game today. We've made a bit of a tradition of losing our first game, and we know that that's not the be all and end all, and we've qualified and we've got a good record in the competition. So certainly no stress. We'd prefer to win it, obviously, but all thoughts on today, really.
Yeah, you said it's positive to take into this game. What are you kind of expecting from this fixture against Kent?
Oh well, they're a good side. You know, plenty of power and good bowling options. We're playing on the same wicket again as the other night, so hopefully we've got some good intel on how that played. It's nice to have a day game. Hopefully it's a good crowd and the sun's out, so it's one to really look forward to.
In terms of the positives from the kind of strengths and weaknesses of their side, what do you see from that?
Well, they've got good batters. They've always had good batters. Daniel Bojaman, Zach Crawley, Sam Billings. So we'll have plans to navigate that, and a couple of overseas bowling options who we haven't seen a great deal of. But yeah, hopefully we can counter that today.
What do you think the team has to do to kind of get the win out there today?
I think just find our roles, find our momentum. This competition, it comes thick and fast. It's a competition where you sort of find your feet, find the groove again. It comes around quickly, which is no excuse, but we've managed to do that really well in years gone by, and you know, despite a few injuries, just sort of find our roles again and hit the ground running today.
And what did you make of Michael Neese's debut for the Hawks?
Yeah, great. He's going to be a real threat with the new ball, adds a different dynamic in the power play with Woody and John Turner. I think it's a really strong power play option, and he's fitted in great. You know, he's very good friends with Ben McDermott, so although we miss Nelly, it's a great swap.
And kind of just touch on the crowd here at Utilita Bowl on Thursday night, and how excited you to get out there again today?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good crowd on Thursday night, expecting probably an even better one today with the sun out and a Sunday day game. It got quite close on the run chase, and they were doing everything they can or they could to support us, so hopefully it's the same again today.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to
Keeper!
It's already been a busy start to the shortest format of the game here at the Utilita Bowl for our head groundsman Simon Lee and his team, who joins us once again here to have a look at conditions out in the middle. Now, Simon, first of all, same wicket as the other night today?
Yep, same pitch, obviously with two close games, only 2 days apart. Easier for me and just makes a lot of sense really to stay on the same one, and it played pretty well on Thursday. Yeah,
I mean, as you look at the scores from the other day, sort of pretty standard blast scores you'd expect for here.
Yeah, it was quite happy with that really. I felt like we probably could have had a few more runs to make the run chase a bit harder for Surrey, but you know, it was a good close game, went down to the last over, so yeah, really happy.
Let's bring the camera down and have a little look then, shall we? Because obviously, Simon, one of the biggest challenges for you with turning a wicket round is repairing things like footmarks and the scrubbing of batsmen and things. So what are the challenges you have in such a short turnaround?
So, I mean, this is a hybrid pitch, so you can sort of see a few little flecks of the hybrid. That helps us with the wear and tear. So normally on an unhybrid pitch, you do get deeper footholds, especially when the pitches get quite dry. There's a lot of energy going through with the bowlers. So luckily on this, there's a few little marks where I've had to just level off a few ends. Not much on the bat increase, and there's not much on the follow for either. So another plus for me is hybrid pitches just helps me keep that in quality and wear high, so the pitches don't deteriorate too much, because you don't want that in T20 really.
And of course, the amount of use we know you get across the square, across the year as well. How much thought goes into reusing pitches and whether you go onto a fresh one?
Yeah, quite a lot. So over the last couple of years when I've been here, we've tried to use pitches probably for quite a long period of time and then finish with them, move on to a new one, whereas this year we're going to play on this a little bit, move somewhere else, come back on it later on in July when we have the 2 blocks of blast in June and July. So yeah, there's so much cricket, isn't there? So we've got a lot to fit in, and it's always a juggling act, but we try and stick as close to the plan as possible, and hopefully it all works.
And just finally, we talk about the boundaries here as well, because actually when you stand out here in the middle, sometimes heading towards the Westgate, it can feel a bit shorter, but actually there's not a lot in it, just a few yards in it, isn't there?
No, just a few. So we're about 65 yards to the west berm today, 72 to the tunnel. So it always foreshortens when you've got a big stand in front of you. So I think also it fools a few batsmen, doesn't it? So they think it's a bit shorter than they actually expect and might get caught on the boundary, which hopefully Kent do.
He's more cunning than you would realise, Simon Lee, our head groundsman here at the Utilita Bowl. Simon, as ever, thanks so much for your time. Hawks against the Kent Spitfires on the way very soon.
With the shiny white ball, here's Stewart in full toss. It's gone up in the air. Clarkson is underneath it on and has taken it as well.
It's a difficult pitch to get in on. They've just got to focus here as Linda in and advancing down the ground, hitting this in the air and over the head of the fielder at deep long off, in which I'm not sure how I feel about that one, as Bell Drummond in, giving himself some room as Preston tickling this down to third man. 2 fielders on the leg side boundary, 1 at deep cover, and this is swiped away on the leg side for 6 runs. Vince on strike to Stewart, and this is slapped away into the deep. Is there a fielder underneath it? No! The ball, I'm not sure Kev's he's going to be allowed to come back on now, as that's a full of slower ball, chipped up in the air. There's a fielder underneath it, and it goes over their head.
He's firing it into the pads of the Hampshire skipper, and that'll go for 6. He's got all of that.
They obviously got there in the same time. No, it's up in the air, this will be out. There's a big top edge, and Billings has run around to cover from behind the stumps, and it's pressed who goes. And the group stage is swung away by Vince, and that is 6 just. Oh, and I think Bell Drummond may just have got fingertips on that, right on the boundary. He was right on the rope. Here's Klassen again, round the wicket and bowls, and slow ball. Vince hoiks that away on the leg side. That will be 6 runs. As Klassen comes into Vince. Vince hoiks that away on the leg side. Has he got the 2 runs he needs? And he comes back for 2, and that is it. There's the James Vince 100, and this will be very popular. Just have a listen.
Grant Stewart, what can he do to Vince? It's a little bit short up in the air. Clarkson gets underneath it, running catch, and he does go. 6 balls left. Stewart bowls to Whiteley in the slot. Has that gone? It's up in the air and gone for 6 over mid-wicket.
199 for 6 they scored here. That's gone high by Weatherly, and that's cleared the rope as well.
9 off a legitimate delivery, effectively.
Hampshire's top scorer in this year's competition. That's flicked away by Whiteley, and he's found the gap, and that is 6. Last ball then. I think Kent will be happy when this is all over. Klassen bowls, and it's full. It's driven, not timed, down towards mid-off, but there's nobody there. And that's going to roll all the way over the rope. The mid-off is up. And that's well to Jordan Cox's right, and Weatherly's picked his spot brilliantly there at the end. Perfect summer's evening for T20. Down the wicket, and it's slogged up in the air, and underneath that is Toby Albert, and that is a simple catch.
As Ellis bowls to him now, angles it up, he's going to go. Oh, what a way to get out. He's just like a tennis shot. It's a backspin volley. grandstand finish that some fans would like. Goes big on this one. Denley, has he got all of it? He has. That's 6.
That run rate's going up all the time. It's nearly 14 now.
As Dawson bowls to Denley. Will this be caught? Just over the rope for 6. Start of the 9th over. And Billy's goes. Oh, it's bowled him. He goes in before he's trying to ramp it. Oh.
Searching for this 4th wicket, Hampshire. Dawson bowls, coming down the wicket and skied in the air. Is this a catch? The fielder underneath it, and it flies over the boundary rope just.
Bowls the left-hander Blake, who pulls that around over mid-wicket, and that's going high into the Shane Warne stand.
And set menu bowling.
Crane bowls, hit down the ground in the air, and that is 6. Here's Crane again then, bowls. And Denley swings that in the air up towards mid-off. Is it going to carry? Good catch! Top catch! Here's Crane again, bowls. It's on the line of leg stump, and that's hit high, and that'll be a maximum again, over deep square leg.
They're lovely team.
Last ball of Crane's spell, and Blake goes big again, and that is big. Over mid-wicket this time.
Is it going over his head there? Fuller to Blake, swings, up in the air. Will it be caught? It will, just inside the boundary.
Wood, a slower ball again. This is chipped up in the air. And the catch is taken. Wood to Leaning, who swings this away. No, he's bowled.
Tough game.
Bodes well for you. As Ellis in, this is a slower ball, chipped back and caught by the bowler. What a fantastic way for Hampshire to complete this innings. They have been destructive, they have been dominant, and they have been worthy winners of this game.
sponsors today, Matrix IT, Mortgage Vitality Blast Picture, official partner of Hampshire Cricket. Matrix IT committed to providing expertise and services that ensure businesses and their
Well, a very good afternoon from a very sunny Utilita Bowl here for match 2 for both Hampshire and Kent. Match 2 in the group stages of 14. And Kent have won the toss and are going to bat first. We'll read you the two teams then. And next to me, Matt Cole from BBC Radio Kent. He's a very best friend when he's down here, like all the commentators there when they arrive. How are you?
It tends to be coloured by the result, I find, here. As Kev will turn his back on me. Should Kent win here? But at this point, everything's cordial. But no, it's a delight to be here with you, and a beautiful, beautiful day, isn't it? Summer feels like it's properly arrived on the 2nd day of June. And yeah, looking forward to this one. Kent's opening victory, a huge one. It was a record run for them by runs, 98 runs over Middlesex. Obviously this week, well, I say obviously, I think this will be a much tougher test, to be fair.
Yeah, Hampshire opening up with a 5-wicket defeat to Surrey, unable to defend a total of 169 for 9. As you're our guest, let's go through the Kent side then, Matt.
Yeah, so from the top, it'll be Zach Crawley and Daniel Bell-Drummond to open, with Tawanda Mayeye we expect at 3. They're unchanged, I should say, from the game against Middlesex. Sam Billings at 4. Joe Denley has moved down the lineup just a little bit this season. We're very used to seeing him open or bat at 3 at the lowest, but he played a really important role actually against Middlesex mid-innings for there to get them over 200 in that game. So he'll bat at 5. Joey Everson on Friday batted at 6. Marcus O'Riordan at 7. Bayer Swanepoel at 8. And then they've got the likes of Grant Stewart, Xavier Bartlett and Matt Parkinson, should it come to that.
Hampshire have made one change from the side that lost to Surrey here Thursday evening. It's an enforced change due to an injury to Ali Orr. He's broken his forearm, which means he will be out for about 8 weeks, I'm told this morning. And miraculously, well, amazingly about that, it's not nice, of course, having an injury like that, but it happened the very first ball that he faced. I think a lot of us thought he was trying to play 1 or 2 slog sweeps off the quicker bowlers, and he got sort of hit in various parts of his body. But it was actually the very first ball he faced Spencer Johnson, the left-arm quick from Australia, where he just defended, and it just hit above the glove. And I've seen the X-ray this morning, and literally the 2 bones are just in different directions, so it's not very nice. So we wish him well. I know he'll be really disappointed. He's keen to impress here, having moved along the coast from Sussex during the winter. No Ali Orr. Into his place comes Nick Gubbins, who's going to be playing only his 2nd T20 game for Hampshire. His first 2 years ago against Surrey at the Oval, he got 0. So he's only one way to go from there. So the Hampshire team, now I'm told that Nick Gubbins will bat 3 if they lose an early wicket, otherwise he will start to drop down the order. So let's assume, and I don't hope this happens, that Hampshire lose an early wicket. The batting order as printed is James Vince, Ben McDermott, Nick Gubbins, Joe Weatherly, Toby Albert, Benny Howell, James Fuller, Michael Neser, Liam Dawson, Chris Wood and John Turner. So those are your lineups for this game. We're getting underway at 1 o'clock. We've got a slightly earlier start for this game. It was scheduled for to be a little bit later, but because Take That are in town for the 2nd night running, I'm told the police said, well, we really do need a bit of a gap between people leaving and coming for various sporting events around the city.
I just hope we don't get caught in their motorcade on the way home. It could happen, couldn't it?
Well, there's a lot of Take That fans going back to Kent, Matt. I don't envy you. Actually, you'll be all right. No, they'll be arriving. Of course, yeah, they'll be
arriving. That's a good point. I'll be going against the direction of travel.
Yeah.
Yes. As I said, as long as we don't get caught up in the traffic just leaving the ground. But yes,
course, yeah.
What a fantastic event anyway. But it doesn't match this, does it, in the sunshine?
Of course it
does. Cricket.
This is where it's at. Let's be honest. So Kent started with a really good win. Amazingly, Middlesex against Kent at Chelmsford. Tell us the story.
Yeah, so Middlesex cash-strapped, as we know, and that's one reason why they have no overseas players this year, as they didn't last year either, to cut costs effectively. They have 3 uses of an outground basically this summer because they don't always have access to Lords, which sounds ridiculous because they're Middlesex, but that's the way it is. So on 2 of those outgrounds will be Chelmsford effectively. They say the infrastructure's there, it's actually more cost efficient for them to go east towards Chelmsford, take the gate, basically take the catering money, take what comes in from the gate, effectively hire Chelmsford than it is to go to Radlett or to Uxbridge. I mean, it's a pretty poor state of affairs, obviously, for those supporters, and it was a very sparse crowd as well. But yeah, for them, a difficult start to the season. Obviously, Middlesex, Kent supporters won't be crying too many tears. Kent were very impressive as an all-round unit, basically. Everybody, apart from Sam Billings, actually out for first ball, contributed with the bat. The bowlers all kept it very tight, and they had a stranglehold pretty early in the Middlesex reply to Kent's 205. So yeah, a really good win. I mean, if you were going to start, if you're going to lay out what you wanted from the start from your team, that would pretty much be it, I think, for everyone perhaps, but the captain getting a duck.
That's for sure. Just a quick reminder of how this competition sets up for those of you that do need reminding. 14 group games, so at the very early stages of this competition. There are 2 groups, a North and a South group, and the top 4 sides from each of those groups go forward to the quarterfinals, where a North group side who finishes first will play the 4th in the South group, blah, blah, blah. And the top 2 sides in each division have a guaranteed home game. I'm just having a look at the winnings for both these 2 sides. Hampshire, of course, have won this competition 3 times, equal with Leicester. That's the most. Kent not too far behind with 2 wins.
No, could equal them this
could
year.
Very easily. I mean, what's the thinking? I know everybody starts thinking they'll win the competition, but generally, what is the feeling at Kent? As opposed to, because the last couple of years you haven't got out of the group,
no,
so
true.
there is improvement there. How, in terms of the last 2 years, what is the feeling?
I think they feel they should be a knockout side. They should be a last 8 side with the strength that they've got. Obviously, the South group, as we know, is a bit of a viper bit, isn't it? It's very difficult to get out of in the right way. But yeah, I think that's certainly what they're, as you say, everyone will say they want to win it, but I think this squad on paper, again, the batting is really, really strong. They've added the overseas players, Xavier Bartlett, who was top wicket taker in the Big Bash with the Brisbane Heat, teammate of Michael Neser, incidentally, on the Hampshire side. He's a real coup to get him. I think he's a real rising star in Australian cricket, and to manage to get him and him not be picked for the World Cup T20, they found the sweet spot, I think. We'll see this afternoon. Obviously, Bayer Swanepoel's bowled really well as well. The South African, not a well-known name in this country, but bowled some very, very good right arm, pretty quicker than he looks, I think, at first glance. Big hitting batter as well. So yeah, Kent have the strength. Zach Crawley as well will be with them for a good deal of this tournament before his England duties kick in. And what a man to have opening your batting, and alongside Daniel Bell-Drummond as well, who perennially scores run for Kent.
The applause you can hear is because the 2 umpires are leading the Hampshire team out to the middle. Our umpires today, Nigel Long, who was here Thursday night, and he's been joined by Rob White. Just a reminder, Kent have won the toss and elected to bat first. It is the same pitch that was used for both the Southern Vipers Western Storm game and also the Hampshire Surrey game in the evening. So it's had 2 T20 games played on this one. Maybe not a surprise why Kent batted first. Probably think the wicket's going to get a little slow if the sun stays out. Would you say, mate?
Yeah, I was interested to hear what you thought about that, how quickly this will wear for the 2 teams. But as you said, Kent are probably erring on the side of caution on that, aren't they? Yeah. Saying, look, we'll have a bat first, and if it's going to wear, we'll get the best out of it later, perhaps.
Yeah, I think if this was an evening game, then, you know, a bit like Surrey did, they won the toss. Stuck Hampshire in, because you do tend to get the ball sort of kissing the surface better, coming onto the bat better in the evenings. So sides tend to like batting second. They want the ball coming on. I think, yeah, as we've just been explaining, Kent feel that perhaps with the sunshine, hot day, that this wicket actually might start to bake and get a little slower and make it difficult for Hampshire on the reply. That's the theory. Doesn't always work like that, but you have to start with a theory. You have to start somewhere.
I was going to say, Kent actually lost the toss on Friday and set such a big total. I think that the scoreboard pressure really paid on Middlesex, and so they may feel they may have done that anyway. That I suppose it's a deal to do with how confident you feel when you start as well.
You're right. That's the other thing. If you want a game batting first, why change that? It's going to be Chris Wood, Hampshire's left arm seamer, and he's going to be bowling to, is this Zach Crawley? Of course it is. Crawley gets one that comes back into him, hits it into his body. The ball just trickles out on the offside. They run through for a single, and we are underway. England batter Zach Crawley, of course, but actually hasn't played T20 cricket for England.
No, he hasn't, but very certain ambitions to do that, to play white ball cricket, ODI and T20 as well. So for him, this is actually, I know this in the 100 will be ways of him proving to England that he really has got what it takes. Obviously not in the World Cup squad, but as you've seen him in Test matches, anyone's seen him playing Test matches, he doesn't mind hitting the ball from ball one, basically. So he certainly is setting his stall out in the Blast.
There's another stalwart of T20s. Is Daniel Bell Drummond, tucks Wood to mid-wicket, and that's fielded by James Fuller. Daniel Bell Drummond playing his 130th T20 game for Kent.
Yeah, very much I suppose a veteran now. And looking at the stats from last year, it was Vince 1, Bell Drummond 2 for overall runs scored. So
oh, was it?
Daniel scored exactly 600 last season. James Vince was the only batter above him in the whole tournament. So a bit of a showdown.
670 to be exact. Bell Drummond plays and misses outside of the off stump. Ball angled across the right-hander. Good delivery from Chris Wood, who's also up in the veteran status. This is his 175th T20 game for Hampshire.
Golly.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Some of these guys are racking up the T20s.
And he'll have won a few tournaments with Hampshire as well, I suppose.
He did. Well, he was yes, 2010, 2012,
sorry,
and
that's
2022. No, that's right. No, you're right. He's won all three because he's won a couple of others as well. Bell Drummond uses his feet, drills it out into the covers, but straight to the fielder. That's Benny Howell. But you're right. No, I just had to think off the top of my head the 3 T20s because he's also won the 50 over competition in 2012 and also 2017 or 18, one of the two anyway. But
so he wins medals these days. You just chuck him on a big pile, is basically.
Yeah, that's right. You just give it another one, and he sort of tries to climb up a ladder and put it on top of the others. Here comes Wood. Oh, bit of bounce outside the off stump again. Bell Drummond's playing and missing. Good start this from Chris Wood. A bit of a shame actually on Friday night because Surrey started the last over. They were favourites to win. They got to the last over, we needed 6. So you need a tight first couple of balls, don't you? First ball, no ball. So they kind of killed it really, which was a shame. That was Chris Wood bowling from actually our commentary end, the hotel end. But he's at the pavilion end this time, maybe to get away from thinking about that. Bell Drummond uses his feet, good length ball, pushes it into the offside. Benny Howell runs in, but again, good running between the two batters out there, Crawley and Bell Drummond. But it's a good over to start with. Chris Wood has conceded 2. That's what Kent have, so they are 2 without loss.
Yeah, looked certainly lively. You say some movement off the pitch as well for the left arm seamer. And you know how much Daniel Bell Drummond likes to play behind the wicket in the early stages, certainly if it's zipping through, so we'll just drop the hands on it, try and run it through third or glance for through fine leg, but nothing hittable there. Michael Nisa will bowl, the Aussie from the hotel end here. Conversation with James Vince. As the PA goes up another couple of volumes, a couple of decibels. See if Take That will compete with it. Daniel Bell Drummond, a slip in as well. I think that's Liam Dawson. It was in the first over anyway at the far end, who was man of the match against Surrey, I gather, from a Hampshire point of view.
30 off 12 balls. Yeah. Hit a smacking shot over cover for 6.
Is Nisa then to Daniel Bell Drummond. Second over starts here at T20 Blast Cricket, nudged into the onside by Bell Drummond. He's gone out towards square leg, whereas the deep fielder throw comes in, not particularly accurate, and doesn't trouble them anyway. They come through. Very much planned. Daniel Bell Drummond's just dropped that into the onside. Round about the square leg umpires when it finished, but the fielder having to hair in from the boundary. Benny Howell there. So they take a well-judged 2, 4 for none. Kent Spitfires here. And welcome to our listeners on BBC Radio Kent DAB, as well as all the other ways you can get the commentary this afternoon. Cut away by Daniel Bell Drummond. Loves that shot. Not fine enough, though. It'll be a backward point, fielded a backward point, and it will take a single. 5 for none.
Looking at the crowd, it's a little down on Thursday night, but it's still a healthy crowd. I think it was about 6 and a bit, I was told, Thursday. I think we're probably not quite 6 here. More in the 5s, I think, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, pleasant buzz around the ground. As I said, it's an absolute corker this day. Best day of the year so far, I would argue. But I've got a very short memory, so who knows? I just remember rain for about 5 months. Yes, Nisa then to Crawley, playing that through the covers. I'm sure he quite middled it, but he takes himself a single up towards James Vince, who runs from mid-off wide to stop that. Decent fielding, 6 for none. Kent unable to break the shackles so far.
Just looking at the strike rates of these 2 opening batters, which of course is quite important, isn't it, when you're looking at who can do what. Crawley strikes at 135 per 100 balls, Daniel Bell Drummond 137, so in terms of their career they're pretty much on par.
Here's Nisa then to Bell-Drummond, makes room, back over the bowler's head. That'll be a 4, at least 6 in fact. He has just checked that back past Michael Nisa, using his feet outside the leg stump, but also coming down the pitch a little bit, has lifted that for a straight 6. So that is the first boundary of the afternoon. 12 for none, Spitfires.
Super shot that, wasn't it? Dead straight, wasn't it? We're slightly to the left of the wicket as we look, so the ball just landing just slightly to our right, but right over the umpire's head. Beautiful strike, right out of the middle of the bat.
So Bell-Drummond races on to 10. James Vince is just changing the field. The man at cover is just moving a little bit around the clock face. Got a man at point as well who will be inside the circle when this ball's bowled. Actually, orthodox cover, that's pulled away by Bell-Drummond, and it's hit straight at the fielder. I think it's bounced just before it's got to where it was there. Hit with such force, Fuller, that it just took a moment getting up there. A bit like a boxer who's been hitting the solar plexus. He's, as you say, it was a great stop because that was moving.
It was low, flat, bounces just in front of you. All the worst things all the things you hate as a fielder.
Yeah, coming off the cut strips as well, so you never know quite. Yeah, in fact, he's just getting his breath back, I think. Hands on knees. James Fuller at mid-wicket. Another one laughing. Very, very painful. He's Nisa to Zach Crawley. They took a single from that one. Crawley just opens the face on that, runs it to point, and they'll take a single. And that is the end of the over. 14 for none. So 12 off it. The first one from Michael Nisa. And Kent just starting to get moving now.
Well, Kent have got a good record here recently in T20 cricket. They were on a run of 4 straight victories, if you include COVID year, up until last year, where Hampshire won that one by 54 runs. But you have to go back to June 2016 for the last Hampshire victory of the last year. So,
considering the strength of a Hampshire side, that's
pretty good, isn't it?
It's quite an accolade. Yeah.
Considering Hampshire are going for their 4th appearance at finals day in a row. 10 appearances in total, the most of any county. Here comes Wood, bowls, and Crawley drives, thick inside edge. There is a fielder at deep backward square leg. That will only be a single. If you just join us, just a reminder, Kent won the toss and elected to bat first. One change in the Hampshire side, no Ali Orr because he broke his forearm in the game here on Thursday night. He's been replaced by Nick Gubbins, who's playing only his 2nd T20 game for Hampshire. And Kent are unchanged from the side that beat Middlesex at Chelmsford, unsurprisingly. Here's Wood bowling to Bell-Drummond, who's on 11 off 9 currently. Bell-Drummond tries to cut that one, misses. Goes through to keeper Ben McDermott. Well, Chris Wood looks the more threatening of the 2 bowlers operating at the moment. That's about the 3rd time he's got the ball past the outside edge. No appreciable movement, not that we can see, I don't think, unless Matt's got better eyesight than me.
It doesn't look like it to me either, but
it's just going across the batter, isn't it, really? Nothing more.
See, Toby Albert is that seen at 3rd inside the circle for that very shot from Danny Bell-Drummond.
Here's Wood, tries to pull that one, slower bouncer this time, and he's almost through the shot too early, so another play and a miss there, has to be put down. I think that's 4 now off Chris Wood, and he's bowled 9 balls so far, so a good start from him.
Yes.
Conceded the 3, that first over from Nisa expensive at 12. 15 without loss, Kent. The Southern Vipers and South East Stars are playing today as well, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
In the Charlotte Edwards, we'll keep you up to date with that because that reflects both these sides. Well, it's come back and that's just about missed the top of off stump. It cut Bell-Drummond in 2. He went to cut it and the ball nipped back quickly.
Yeah, well, that's visible nip, as you say, from Daniel Bell-Drummond, and actually I think he's shuffling his pads away to make sure it doesn't hit him directly in front. It's a whisker away from the off stump. It's a delicious delivery, and Wood, as you said, 10 balls bowled now, just 3 off his bowling.
Good stuff. From that pavilion end, comes in, left arm over and bowls to Bell-Drummond, uses his feet, cuts it in the air, should be out, or isn't it? No, it's just gone over, short 3rd. He'll get a couple of runs. Toby Albert running back down to the boundary. It was certainly not out the middle of the bat. The ball just hovered in the air, but in the end, well over Albert.
Yeah, feels like Bell-Drummond sick of being tied down there, wasn't he? Had to make some change there, gave a bit of a charge and then found himself having to think to go on the back foot. And I won't say he cut it away, he just got what he could onto the ball there and spooned over the head of Toby Albert. And they do come back for 2, but just 3 off the over so far. Ball to come.
Here he is then. Bowling to Bell Drummond, who's playing a missing again, coming down the wicket. Extra bounce there to Ben McDermott. And that's he's found a bit of life there in this pitch, has Chris Wood from that pavilion end. Another really good over. 2 overs, none for 5. I think at the last count there's about 6 plays and misses now off his bowling in those 2 overs. 17 without loss though, Kent. That's the most important thing. They haven't lost a wicket.
Yeah, doesn't look like he's doing much in the air, but there's a little bit of nip off the pitch and negligible before that one that almost cleaned Danny Bell Drummond up, but neither Crawley nor Bell Drummond laying a bat in anger on him so far. And I'd say Zach Crawley from his 4 balls so far hasn't really timed or middled one. So I do wonder if there's just a little bit of devil in the pitch that they're having to deal with. 2 excellent batters. John Turner, he's a young quick bowler from this hotel end now, will bowl to Zach Crawley, formidable foe. And Crawley goes to that one, straight back over the bowler's head, and that'll be 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 4 runs. And I said he hadn't timed one yet. That was all right. It's a lovely shot, almost dismissive from Zach Crawley, but he's such a physically big batsman. He takes a step down the pitch as well. He uses the levers to smash that back over the bowler's head.
That's everything you hate about being a bowler in T20 cricket, because that actually is a really nice, good length ball first up, and it's just been hit back with no worries whatsoever.
Crawley facing this next one. Goes to this one as well. That's over the infield, and that will be at least 2 runs. Will it be 4? Fielder goes after it. Really good stop. Fabulous stop. And that will be a 3 in the end. I thought Fuller was there before. I don't think that is him though, Kev, is it? The fielder racing out of the circle there at mid-wicket.
Might be Albert, I think.
Is it Albert? There we go.
No, it's not actually. Not quite sure.
Great bit of fielding. Whoever it was.
It was Albert, yeah.
Crawley very much safe there, in the air, but over the infield. Didn't get himself a boundary for it, though. His Turner cut away by Danny Bell Drummond. That's moving. Great fielding at point. Tigerish stuff there, and that will be a dot ball. Again, that's really motoring from Danny Bell Drummond. He's timing the ball well, but gets nothing for it. 24 for none.
He's under pressure straight away here, John Turner, isn't he? It's he hasn't bowled badly at all. In fact, there have been 3 really good deliveries, but just shows how easy it is to go for runs in this competition.
It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? Over the wicket, right arm fast. It's a lovely shot, and that's just cut away by Daniel Bell Drummond. It's for 6, in fact. Over third. Oh, was it 4? I beg your pardon. I thought it had pitched inside the rope, but he's just backed away slightly, and it's a short ball just outside the off stump. He's just helped it on its way, effectively, cutting that above the man at third, inside the circle, 4 runs.
This is the thing, so the batters have forced the bowler to do something slightly different. There've actually been 3 really good balls, but even the third ball could have gone for runs unless it was well stopped at point. So Turner's thinking, right, I'll just do something different here, try and keep the batters. I think the umpires are saying that's gone for 6.
I thought it had gone for 6.
So do I.
On the eye check.
Yeah,
it is 6, there we go.
Yeah.
It's very rare I'm right and the umpires are wrong. Crikey.
Well, it's, in all the years I've been working with you, I've never known you to be wrong.
I thought you were going to say to be right.
30 without loss.
So first time for everything. Very generous today.
Here's Turner.
His Turner bowls to Bell Drummond, takes the bottom hand off, but again he's cut it over the man at third, using the life in the pitch and the pace of the bowler, and they come back for 2. And again, Turner, he's actually bowled that into Danny Bell Drummond's body, about throat high, and Bell Drummond has just ease that away over third, and that will be another 2. So, as you say, who'd be a bowler? Crikey. In this format, 15 off the over so far, 1 to come.
It does look like this end's a little bit more docile for the seamers. Wood's found a bit more bowling from the pavilion end.
They can't hit Chris Wood from the other end, and Turner bowls to Bell Drummond, works that away down towards backward point, just cut away. They'll take a single. Decent over that one from the Spitfires, certainly 16 off it in total, 33 for no wickets. So still no wickets down in the power play. That'll please them most certainly, and Captain Sam Billings. But they've got to work out how to play Turner from the Chris Wood from the far end at this point, if he is going to continue. But 33 for none, 4 overs gone here.
Yeah, there's a few having a conference now by the wicket. I think this commentary end, the hotel end, northern end, is going to be a bit of a problem for the seamers, I think, at the moment, because there is literally no life whatsoever. So I think James Vincent's going to have to be careful with how he distributes the bowlers. I think literally it might even be 1 over spells. Looks like Nisa's changing to the pavilion end. So Chris Wood is going to have a couple of overs saved, which is not unusual. Nisa's first over, I think, went for 12, if I remember off the top of my head.
The way Wood has bowled, you think you keep him up your sleeve for whenever. If it starts to get away, even mid-overs, or presumably they want to keep him for the death, obviously, if they possibly can.
Yeah, I think if James Vincent looks at you and you're a seam bowler to bowl this end, you keep your head down, don't look back. I think you'd be wanting to bowl the pavilion end at the moment. So it is Nisa, right arm over, Australian coming in, pace bowler, bowls to Bell Drummond, who smacks it back past Nisa, hard for 4. That's bounced up off the boundary boards quite high as well. My word, just a little punch shot, wasn't it? Strong forearms, punch.
Yeah, it's a fantastic shot, but I have to say Chris Wood's stock is going up and up. That's more runs than he's gone from in 2 overs, is that right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, lovely shot from Daniel Bell Drummond. He's got such great hand-eye coordination and great timing as well.
Well, these two started well at Chelmsford as well, didn't they? Here's Nisa, bowls, and that's pulled by, that's not timed, as it's pulled out just in front of square on the leg side, and even though it's not timed, it means they can come back for 2. Had he timed it, it would probably only been 1. It would have got to the fielder quickly. In the end, 3 fielders are having to run quite a long way. 39 without loss. Good start from Kent here, having won the toss, elected to bat first. We're in the 5th over.
It's a big playing area, this one, isn't it? And as you say, allows them, even though he's just mistimed it into the onside, the fielders converging on it don't have a chance to cut it off before it's 2.
Nisa in again then. 2 balls of the 5th over gone. That's down the leg side, and that'll be a wide. Not sure if Nisa thought that Bell Drummond was going to move to the leg and try and force it away on the offside. Sometimes you have to second guess as a bowler. He's just got that wrong, because Bell Drummond stayed exactly where he was.
It sounds like a cry of anguish coming from somewhere. I'm not sure if that was Michael Nisa himself. It might have been, probably, as you say. But it hasn't moved.
Maybe somebody's just told him about the Take That concert tonight. He hasn't got a ticket. Here's Bell Drummond. Whips that away behind square on the leg side. That's gone fast, and that's gone over the rope for 4. Another good shot. He's in good form here, Bell Drummond. He looks very strong indeed. I would normally expect to say that about Zach Crawley, but rather worryingly from a Hampshire point of view, I'm saying it about Bell Drummond. Crawley hasn't really got going yet.
No, I mean, again, played well on Friday, got himself 38. They started 70 for 1 in the power play there, so they really got off to a flyer, and hoping to do the same here again.
So 44 without loss. Here's Nisa to Bell Drummond. Bowls again, slower ball. Bell Drummond works that wider mid-on. More runs here, might even be another boundary, and it will be. No way James Fuller can get to that. Running away to his left at deep mid-wicket, and again it's another powerful shot from Bell Drummond. It's 48 without loss. We've got 2 more balls of the 5th over, so we've got effectively 8 more balls of the power play. So this is a very strong start from the visitors.
Yeah, Bell Drummond is hitting the ball beautifully. Hasn't started badly in the county championship either. It's been a bit wretched for Kent otherwise, but this afternoon.
Bell Drummond's 36 off 22. Here's Nisa. That's worked away on the onside now. Fuller's got a bit of work to do here, running towards the ball, and he keeps him down to a single. Does well there. Throws it in 1 bounce to Ben McDermott, and Kent move on to 49. Bell Drummond has 37 off 23. Zach Crawley's only faced 6 balls. It's probably just as well, really. Otherwise, that total might be even higher. Crawley's 11 off 6.
It's like 16 off the over so far with the wide. So another great one for Kent inside the power play. With Wood taken out of the attack.
He's so expensive so far. As he comes in again and bowls. Crawley works that past Nisa, and that's going up for 4 more, up towards the top end of the ground. So Nisa has conceded 32 runs from his 2 overs so far, and the Kent 50 is up.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot as well. As you say, timing, hardly any backlift from Zach Crawley, but it's soon scooting its way leg side of the stumps at the far end, and on its way for 4. So, and the 50 partnership as well. 53 for none then, Kent off 5. Going really well. So it was 20 off that over, wasn't it, for Michael Nisa? And
Big up. A couple of emails just while we're waiting for the change of sunderlandcricket@gmail.com. Ralph Brooker says, not really a Blast fan, but heard of Alior's injury. good luck to him on his recovery, but in a cruel twist of fate, Toby Albert may have nailed a championship opening spot. Well, yeah, he played well the other night as well in the T20s. And Mark Nanji says, I'm really looking forward to seeing another great game of cricket and, of course, listening to the commentary. Can I request a shout-out for my good friend Scott Dinley from Maidstone?
Ah, absolutely.
Scott is my guest today and will be cheering on the Spitfires. Fingers crossed for a Hawks victory, says Mark.
Well, I'm sure he'll be quietly pleased with the first 5 overs from a Spitfires point of view. 53 for none here. Chris Wood has looked unplayable. Otherwise, Bell Drummond and Crawley have looked impressive. James Fuller's going to be brought on at the hotel end here, along conference with captain James Vince once again. The fielder at backward point is pushed right onto the boundary. There's a deep square leg as well, the 2 boundary fielders here. Bell Drummond lifts it over fine leg, and that will be 4, I think this time just inside the rope. And he's just carted that off a length, perhaps a bit leg and middle from James Fuller, but fine leg up in the circle, and that has been dispatched again from Bell Drummond with very little fanfare. He goes on a 41 from 24 now.
Yeah, this is a real problem now for the bowlers and for James Vince in particular, because while the fielding restrictions are in place, which they are for another 5 deliveries, you only can have 2 players outside the 30-yard circle, and of course it's knowing where to put those 2 players, because at the moment the ball's disappearing everywhere.
Yeah, it really is. It's a 4th boundary for Bell Drummond. He's hit 2 sixes as well. Fuller bowls to him now. He makes room, and that goes over pretty much middle stump actually, and Bell Drummond looks back maybe anxiously towards the wicket keeper, but it's a dot ball, and that will be very welcome indeed from a Hampshire point of view here. Any dot balls like gold dust in the power play, certainly.
Good slow ball.
It's just done Bell Drummond, that's it. So he wanders back, James Fuller, 26 on his yellow Hampshire Hawks shirt, turns away from us now, bowls to Danny Bell Drummond, bat held high, and in towards his pads. He's taken that on the full, along the ground. They'll just take a single though, out towards Albert on the leg side boundary of mid-wicket. He throws in efficiently, just the one then.
Good delivery, get it right up there. Try not to give the batters too many options. Looks a good wicket here at the moment, doesn't it? Especially the way the 2 batters are playing. They've started like a train here, Ken.
First over, I thought it was going to be a snake pit, this pitch, from where Wood was bowling, and the second one he bowled as well. But yeah, it could be a scoring contest, this one. Here's Fuller then to Crawley on middle stump, this one. And Crawley just works that out towards mid-wicket again, just for a single once more. 59 for none. Crowd still coming in. It's a pleasant buzz around the place. A beautiful afternoon here at the Utilita Bowl. Get used to that eventually. Am I allowed to default to Rose, or is that way in the past?
That's
now?
your only default option.
Is it? Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. He said, I've been told off by the headmaster. It's Fuller to Bell Drummond. Oh, it's up in the air. Leading edge, way up in the air. Fuller sets himself underneath it. Bell Drummond should go, and has. A huge leading edge, that one. You can tell from the hang time. Could have told him my shopping list for the week before that one came down to James Fuller, but he very confidently watched the ball all the way into his hands, and Daniel Bell Drummond eventually does go for 42. Great knock to start though for Kent. An impressive total on the board for them already. So Daniel Bell Drummond gone for 42. The Kent Spitfires 59 for 1 then in the power play. Towards the end of the power play, 1 ball to come in fact.
Yeah, James Fuller very much used by James Vince as a sort of a bowler that breaks partnerships, and he's done that once more here. My word, that ball went up a long way. And I have to say, watching the line of the ball and watching Fuller line up underneath it, I actually did think when the ball was on its way down that actually he might have got just a little bit too much away from it, but actually in the end, I mean, he pushed his hands out a little bit, not too much, but actually it was a very, very good catch. Chris Hart has messaged me as well, saying Hampshire deservedly punished for bowling a load of half-trackers and half-volleys. I'm sure there was a load, but there was a couple mixed in there. Great commentary, says Chris. Thank you very much for that. And I think a lot of Hampshire fans are breathing a huge sigh of relief that that partnership was broken.
Yeah, 1 ball to come off the power play. James Fuller will bowl it to Tawanda Mayeye, and that rats him on the pad. He's gone first ball. It was a diffident sort of shot from to Anna Muyeye, we're not quite in line. There didn't seem very much wrong with that, and Muyeye hasn't waited either. He has gone. Umpire's finger goes straight up. It's 2 in 2 balls, and Kent suffered that on Friday against Middlesex as well. But Muyeye will very quickly depart. And James Fuller, a partnership breaker. Well, there was no partnership there whatsoever. He has turned things around in the power play, and Hampshire, well, they're never out of it in T20 cricket, but right back on parity, I'd say, after the finish of the power play, then 59 for 2 off that fantastic start for Kent. Fuller has changed things around.
Just nipped back a fraction, and he played right across that one, Muyeye. And Fuller is on a hat-trick, and we'll have to wait. Assuming he gets another over straight away, we'll have to wait even longer, but he's on a hat-trick at the start of the next over. And the captain walks to the wicket.
He does indeed, and talking of players getting out first ball, he did on Friday, did Sam, but he's had a pretty wretched summer, both in the Championship and the T20. Went away in the winter, decided to step away from the red ball cricket for Kent and just concentrate on white ball. Maybe that didn't pay off in the first game, but they didn't need him in that respect. But captaining the Spitfire side once again for T20, it's going to be Benny Howell. The change at the far end. Does that Crawley?
That's worked away on the onside for a single. Sorry, I forgot which end I was doing there for a moment. I was so excited about the prospect of James Fuller with the possibility of a hat-trick in the next over. I forgot that Benny Howell, well, don't forget he was bowling, I just forgot it was me. He only had the 1 over, which cost 13 in the game against Surrey here on the Thursday night. Very much a slow medium bowler, Benny Howell, but he just mixes up with his pace, mixes up with the fingers across the ball and down the side, one side, and then down the side of the other, and then over the top, and whatever else you can think of comes in again, and that's worked away on the onside by Billings, and he is off the mark.
He essentially has. In the past, Kent players play against him for Gloucestershire in the past, saying that he has 6 deliveries he can bowl to you, different deliveries he can bowl to you, so you really have no idea what's coming.
Very innocuous.
On the right pitch, yeah.
You just run up, you know, you almost expect that in a club game during the week, or, you know, at weekends with just a 7 or 8 pace run up. Crawley works that away on the onside, out towards deep mid wicket along the ground. Will settle for a single. Crawley moves on to 18 from 10. Kent are 62 for 2, having been 59 without loss. A couple of quick wickets which seem to come out of nowhere. It just shows T20 cricket, doesn't it, how things change so quickly.
Yes, tables turned.
Still a good start. As we're now out of the power play, so the field can be a little bit more defensive. Played out on the onside by Billings for a single. A few more gaps on the infield, so theoretically there's more singles available, but of course more fielders on the rope, which should, again, theoretically cut off more boundaries. But batters are so powerful these days. Mind you, these are big boundaries.
Yeah.
Same boundaries that were there for the Surrey game. That's Thursday night. As Howell comes in and bowls, and he's wrapped on the pad there, Crawley. Trying to play that away on the onside. Crawley will love the ball coming onto him a lot more, that's for sure.
Yeah. I saw the an interview with him where he was asked Ethan Bamber on a nipper at Lords or Pat Cummins.
Crawley works that away hard on the back foot, Barry, as far as deep mid on. Oh, Billings is going to take the throw on. Have to hurry here. Throw comes in, stumps are broken, but Billings is home.
That's great running, I suppose you'd say. In the end, there's only 2 ways that's going to turn out, but yeah, got through the 2. That is the end of the over, almost innocuously. As you say, he's got through the over as well. 65 for 2. The answer for those who haven't seen that interview from Zach Crawley was, I'd rather have Pat Cummins steaming in at me at the Ashes rather than a slow nibbler in county cricket. He said I have so much more time to think. It's with, there's no sign of show of arrogance about it at all. He's never like, you know, sometimes I just have too much to think about the deliveries, and that can get you in trouble. He likes it to be basically upon him before he knows it. That's an easy enough way to play. That we all had that talent, frankly, but there we are. It's Liam Dawson to bowl from this hotel end. And Kent 65 for 2, so a bit of a slowdown. 6 off that previous over. Still going at a decent lick here. No idea what a par score is yet on a wearing pitch, as you said. So physio Dan George coming on. I think that's the Kent physio, just jogging off there, but Somebody's maybe just taking a drink from him. But looking around the ground now. So they've got a first baller on Friday in his first innings of Blast cricket for the summer. Round the wicket, left arm for Dawson. Straight back at him by Sam Billings. These two will have faced each other a few times, I think it's fair to say, over the year. 65 for 2. Don't have time to do a deep dive on the stats, but
around the world.
Yeah, it's going to, and that's very much with franchise cricket. These two are picked up whenever they're available, aren't they, for sides around the world. This is keeping him pinned down as well. But he's just trying to leave that one past James Vince at cover and can't get enough on it. So he's not going long handle just yet. There's fielders, 3 of them on the boundary on the leg side. He'll take 2 here again. It's really good running by this Kent pair. Good backing up from Zach Crawley. Throw eventually comes in to the non-strikers end, and Crawley is well home by the time Benny Howe can get on it. So maybe that's what Sam Billings is thinking here. Not taking any early risk against Dawson, but there could be 2s available, particularly on the leg side. He goes to the reverse as I say that, and he has got away with that one because that ends up hitting the wicketkeeper Ben McDermott's pads and skewing off on the leg side. So there we go. There I was talking about him being circumspect. He's gone for the reverse. So try and change things up against Liam Dawson. 2 balls to come over the 8th on the back foot, driving up to long off. James Fuller fields. Single taken.
Well, we're going to have to wait a little longer for James Fuller's hat-trick, aren't we? Assuming he gets another over.
Enough, yeah.
He might not get another over.
Is that like being denied the penalty when you're when you're on your hat-trick for a football? I don't know. Surely they've got to put him on. But Dawson just trying to apply the brakes to Ken outside the power play here. 68 for 2. Last ball, the 8th over. Rats him on the pads. That's like a good shout, but Crawley goes back, scrambles back, stumbles back to his ground. Just 3 off the over. Warm applause from this mostly Hampshire crowd.
Wow, that must have been close. I can only think there was a little tickle on the bat through there, because that looks even closer than Mayeye's from here. Sure, we're going to get a replay.
That was a strangled appeal, but so we are through 8 then. Spitfires 68 for 2, run rate's 8.5. If you're just joining us, Daniel Bell-Drummond caught and bowled by James Fuller for 42. The penultimate ball of the power play, and to Tawanda Mayeye, LBW to Fuller for none. The last ball of the power play. Crawley has 20 from 13. Billings has 5 from 7 so far. Benny Howe to continue.
Of his 5 or 6 paces, I think he's slower than Dawson these days, Benny Howe, actually, when you look at some of the deliveries that he serves up. Dawson was excellent here Thursday night, 18 off his 4 overs, started excellently again, 3 off his first. Here's Howe, whose first over he conceded 6, and that's worked up to deep mid on by Billings, and they're going to take 2 more. Massive area, these outfields. Throw comes in low to keeper Ben McDermott. I think Kent have had a chat about this outfield, haven't they? I think they've said, look, there's definitely 2s here. A lot of teams come here and they miss out on a lot of 2s. Kent, I think, have taken the second run at every opportunity so far. 70 for 2 in the 9th. As Howe from that pavilion end comes in with his slow medium pace. Hammered away off the back foot by Billings. Couple of bounces out to Fuller at deep mid wicket. Billings moves on to 8. That's off just 9 deliveries. 71 for 2, Kent.
He might have just been talking to himself there, Sam Billings. He just pointed to the field that's just picked out the mid-wicket and then went through the shot again. I think he might have just been going through the motions, as it were. How do I beat that man? 71 for 2.
I was saying earlier about the crowd. I think there's a few more that have come in since the start of the game. It's now, oh, there's a huge bee just come in.
I think that's a hornet.
That's
actually.
A hornet. Oh, gosh, don't
that's
get
a
too
large
near
lad.
That's hammered away, but not timed to mid-wicket by Zach Crawley. That hornet has not gone. It is. It's on the windows. We'll keep an eye on that.
Now, I'm told, and my experience with them is they are a bit like bees. They don't want to get involved with you. They're unlike wasps who are going to be up in your face. And I'm hoping this is true.
It's huge. It's
that
4 wasps together. Oh, he's bowled! Crawley trying to hammer that away on the leg side. And the middle and leg stumps knocked back. That's a big wicket. Huge wicket. Crawley goes for 20. And Kent are just stalling a bit here. They are. I've just lost the score because it's gone off absolutely everything that I have in front of me. I've got it 71 for 3.
Thank you. It's a commentator's curse, that one, isn't it? It's as much as anything else. It's gone somewhere. It's not with us. I was thinking that wicket falls down, and everything you see these days, because it's all digital scoreboards, isn't it? Then goes, it's a wicket. Well, you know that. You've been watching it. We'd like to know what the score is to tell people. But there we are. Oh, it's such a tough job, this. Yeah, that's what I tell people. They don't realise the hard yards you have to go through. But yeah, bowled by Howe, and Crawley goes, and that's a great breakthrough. And as Joe Denley comes out, newly dropped down the order this season to 5. I said Kent weren't in trouble when they lost 2 quick wickets against Middlesex on Friday, but he did such a great job early part of the innings, just nudging the ball around, then eventually ended up with 56 and 33. If you've watched cricket before, county cricket, you know what Joe Denley can do.
Well, he's a very, very experienced campaigner. This is his 168th T20 game for Kent. There are some huge figures for some of these players on both these sides. They've been around a long time. Joe Denley, 38 years of old, still going strong. Here's Howell. Denley works that towards extra cover, and there is no run. So Crawley, he's 20, came off 15 deliveries. Here's Benny Howell again. He's always a lot more tougher than he looks, just ambling in. That's worked up to mid-on. That's a good bit of fielding to keep that down to a dot ball. Good over Benny Howell. 1 wicket for 3 in that over, and Kent, having been 59 without loss, and now 71 for 3.
Yeah, pace off looks really hard to handle. As much as Chris Wood was brilliant from the far end with his left arm seamers, elsewhere the pace on the ball seemed to be much more to Kent's liking. Balance of Kent's side has Marcus O'Riordan in the middle or middle overs with his off spin. Matt Parkinson with his leg spin. I suppose they'll be looking towards those two to help them through this game as well. Certainly no change in the balance of the side, taking a spinner out and putting a batter in. It's Dawson, if that makes any sense to anybody. Dawson to Billings, comes down the pitch, drives at the spinner, the left arm spinner, but doesn't really get all of it. They'll come back for a hard run too, they do indeed. These two are very quick across the turf indeed. Although, as Kevin says now, Joe Denley is very much nearly his bus pass at 38. He can still run 73 for 3. I said that with tongue in cheek. I'm getting to the age where I still know him as young Joe Denley, so there we are. Here's Dawson. Oh, it's a long handle, and that'll be over the rope from Sam Billings. He has thundered that one over the bowler's head, and that is 6 runs, actually over the advertising hoardings as well. The rope slightly in at our end, but hits the covers, and that's a big shot from Sam Billings. And yeah, saw a ball to his liking there. He's taken it on, 16 from 11 so far, 79 for 3. Just breaking the shackles for a moment there, Ken. So the last 2 overs have been very quiet, and the wicket of Crawley as well. A bend of the knees by Billings. He waits for this one, comes down the pitch again, works this into the onside, and he'll take a single. But actually, in franchise cricket around the world, Sam Billings is known for playing spin well. I think this will be not exactly meat and drink to him, but it'll be a good competition between the experience of Liam Dawson and Joe Denley and Sam Billings. Denley just marks his guard now. First sight of Dawson. Well, indeed. Left arm round the wicket for Dawson. Denley comes down the pitch to him, drives it hard, but again it ends up with Nisa at long on. Sliding stop in the end, and just the single taken. Be well to get round quickly to it, Michael Nisa, to release the throw quickly, so no thought of a second for Kent, but 10 off this over so far. That's one that Kent needed. Point of view, losing a couple of wickets and a bit of a slow down. Billings comes down, a bit of a smear that one. He's looked, I think, to drag that slog sweep. It's a characteristic Sam Billings shot, but it's low and outside the off stump. It's ended up straight back at the bowler somehow. A real attempted mow outside the off stump to drag it into the onside, but here's Dawson to him. It's left outside the off stump, and that will be a wide as well. Well judged, says the umpire.
I think he thought Billings was coming down the wicket there.
Certain cat and mouse here. Ball to come over the 10th over. Kent 82 for 3. Dawson round the wicket to Billings, and that one's wide as well. This really is cat and mouse. This is a bit like baseball, isn't it?
Very funny.
The pitcher's way outside the off stump. He's waiting for Billings to try that, perhaps that slog sweep and get down on one knee, drag it onside. Billings is just staying where he is at the moment, and once more just clips that off his pads up towards mid-wicket. They call for 2. Hard one again from Denley. Does he get there in time? It's close. But Denley, says the umpire, who's right on the spot, static watching that. They have got the 2. It's well run in the end. And that'll be 87 for 3 then at halfway here of the Kent innings. And 16 taken off the over.
Yeah.
Sorry, back where you were. I thought it was 87. I beg your pardon. I was getting ahead of myself. It is 85 for 3 and it is 14. I'll get back in my box. Only 1. Billings 19, but intriguing contest this, isn't it?
Well, I think the feature of the Kent batting, apart from the fact they got away to a very fast start, is the running of the 2s, because that's actually to the slight shorter boundary side, way to our right. Still a big boundary, but they are looking for 2s at every opportunity. And of course, in a close scoring game, which this may be, that may be the difference. Here's Benny Howell then. Denley's on the back foot, strokes that up towards deep mid-off. That's a single to him. Stephen Clark's emailed, silentcricket@gmail.com. He's in the stands at the far end. He says, phew, in weather and finally getting some wickets. A quick shout out to the usual crew of Chris, Neil, Dave, Trevor, Pixie, who are with me, and the addition of Chasey. Wow. Always great listening on the earpiece. Thank you, Stephen. It's one of the ways you can listen to us. BBC Sport Online. BBC Kent, DAB. So that's pulled away on the leg side for a single from Sam Billings. 86 for 3. We're also on the live picture feed, which is going out on the Hampshire Cricket website and app, which is free to download. That will be going back to the Kent Cricket website as well. There's too many. If I mentioned it all, the game would be over. There is some others in there as well. I said BBC Radio Sun on all frequencies as well, as all T20s games are. Slower ball driven out into the covers by Denley. Straight to Dawson.
But suffice to say, if you're in your living room, on your smart TV, you're with your laptop, your phone, you're in the car, you're out in the garden doing some gardening, you can find us.
Yeah, we do well to avoid it actually. Denley comes down the wicket, hammers that over Benny Howell's head. 1 bounce for 4 up towards the far end of the ground. Lovely shot. Again, good use of the feet from a Kent batter. And Denley moves on to 6.
That's nice.
Total on to 91.
That's a key shot from Joe Denley. Thanks a lot.
Lots of music, of course, which I have to keep remembering. There's a shadow gone over the ground. A cloud has gone over, but it's a beautiful afternoon here, as I'm sure it is wherever you are. I think it's one of those days where anywhere in the UK is a good day. That's pulled away by Denley, who takes one hand off the bat as he does so. Goes out to deep mid-wicket. The familiar position of James Fuller out there away to our left, and Denley moves on to 7. Runnable 7 for him. 92 for 3, Kent, coming towards the end of over number 11 of 20. We'll keep an eye on that cut-off time as well, because that affected the game on Thursday. I don't think it affected the game on Chelmsford, I don't think. Matt, you didn't say anything, so I'm assuming that. That's a nice drive from Billings up towards deep mid-on. There'll be 2 here, certainly. Nisa, I think that is. Throwing towards the keeper's end. The stumps are broken, but Billings is home. And that is the end of over number 11. 94 for 3, Kent.
Yeah, they're certainly, Kent, pushing the envelope, as I like to say, with the running, aren't they? That's right on the edge. But you're 94 for 3. So actually 9 off the over in total, and they're saying with no boundaries, or just 1 boundary in that. They are owing a lot to their running there. So this Kent pair is absolutely lightning. And confident running too. 94 for 3, Denley 7, Billings 22. So however you're receiving us this afternoon, a very warm welcome to you. It's a perfect day for cricket. You're enjoying the day wherever you are. Very much too early to call where this contest is going at this point,
far
Kevin.
too early. We're on for a hat-trick.
What was a hat-trick?
Shall I do with this one? Thank you, it's very kind of you. Matt is a stalwart of sport at BBC Kent, and he's just shown his experience there. So hat-trick ball for James Fuller. Comes in and bowls. It's a length ball. It won't be a hat-trick because that is nicely played out on the onside by Joe Denley, almost as if he made sure that wouldn't be a hat-trick ball because he played it nicely in behind it. Nice straight bat, elbow high. Just worked it into the onside for a single. So no hat-trick for James Fuller, but we had a bit of fun with the first 2 balls of his previous, or the last 2 balls of his previous over, where he dismissed Daniel Bell-Drummond and Tawanda Meyeye. Apologies, although it's nothing to do with me, but apologies there is no score if you're watching on the live picture feed. Many of you have been getting in touch. Here's Fuller, or you.
To Billings, and checks that back past the bowler. One bounce, brilliant fielding by Vince, and a throw in as well that challenged Billings to dive towards the non-striker's end. That is a fantastic bit of fielding. Absolute lightning from James Vince, first cutting it off because it looked like all ends up it's going to be a 4, and then releasing the throw almost as he fell. Billings, well, that tested his running certainly, but a single taken there, 96 for 3. We'll keep you up to date with the score after every ball, in fact.
Will we?
We normally do.
Will we now?
Is that a promise? Is Fuller to Denley. We'll do our best anyway. Pulls that one away, Denley. Maybe kept it a little bit low on him. Fuller taking the pace off the ball again. They'll go for 2, and Billings. Well, if it had been a direct hit, it's asking a lot, I think, of Michael Neser there with a stump and a half to aim at. But if it hit, Billings had gone. But it was a shy at the stumps from long on, effectively. So it would have been tough. But they have run the 2 there. And Kevin, you're saying they.
Well, I think Kent have done this the best I've seen of any opposition side here. All the years of T20, all the games here. I think the running between the wickets here to get that second run has been the best I've seen.
Absolutely committing to it at the moment. Fuller bowls to Denley once more. Denley up towards long on. This will not be 2. There we go. I don't know much, but I'm assured of that. That's gone straight to Neser. They're not taking him on for that one. And that's another single. And James Fuller. Well, quite. Again, proving really difficult to hit, as he was, of course, in that first over where he took the 2 wickets at the end of it. Just 5 off it so far. Vastly experienced. He played around the world, of course, as a franchise cricketer. And
playing his 68th T20 game just for Hampshire alone.
I think he was in the South African T20 as well in the spring. James Fuller bowls to Billings, comes down the pitch. It's a swing and a miss. And has he taken pace off that one? It's done just bounced before Ben McDermott. It's not way over the stumps, that one from Fuller, but it's a dot ball. Again, just putting the brakes on. Feels every time that Kent trying to break away here. There's an over for the Hampshire Hawks where they bring it back, and they've turned to James Fuller to do just that. And just 5 off it so far. Balls come of the 12th over. 99 for 3. Kent Spitfires. Over the wicket now. 2 Billings comes down the pitch, not in control of that one. Where has that ended up? Behind square on the offside, and that's 4. I'm not sure he played that intentionally, Kevin, unless I completely lost sight of it. This is basically a flurry of bat, and it's 100 up for Kent. It's 103 for 3. I'm having trouble describing that shot because basically there's just a fly of the bat as it's short outside the off stump, and it's ended up back on a square, back on a point for 4 runs. I'm not sure Sam Billings knew where that one was going himself.
No, he's just gone through with the shot. He's used his feet. He's nowhere near the pitch of the ball. He's just gone through the shot anyway. He's hit through the line, and I guess because he tried to go at it quite hard, so he's got the ball over the infield, even though it's nowhere near the middle of the bat. So it's a good crowd today, enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the action. We have plenty of it. Kent getting away to a very fast start, 59 without loss in the 6th, but then 2 wickets at the end of the power play. It's just halted things a little bit. Now Denley and Billings trying to build a partnership as Dawson switched ends. Denley uses his feet, drives back to Dawson, good diving stop.
Again, it was 9 off that over with that boundary right at the end. It's just nudged it up for Kent as well. So they're going around about 8.5 and over here.
Yeah,
so
not bad,
about 170 pace.
Yeah. Here's Dawson again, bowling to Denley. Again, he's using his feet. Oh, it's missed stumping. Or did he get an edge on that? I think it might be runs down towards fine leg. What's the umpire signalling? He's going to signal byes. It's missed everybody. Down the leg side slightly, but between the body of Denley and the stumps. But McDermott didn't see it. 107 for 3. You mentioned about 170 pace. Last year, which Hampshire won, the game that Hampshire won, they won with 221 for 3. Kent could only get 167 in reply. But in the previous matches, Kent reached 182 for 6, which they won in the first innings. That's off the pad. Good running there. McDermott will throw at the bowler's end. That should be a leg by. No, there was inside edge. onto the pad of Denley. In 2020, which was COVID year, Hampshire 182, but Kent chased that down for the loss of 2. Crawley 100 on that day. That was in the 18th over. Kent chased Hampshire's 145 for 5 back in 2019. So 70 is usually a good score here. Hampshire couldn't defend 169 against Surrey here, though. On Thursday night, down the wicket comes Billings, works it away behind square on the leg side. Now, are they going to run 2? Yeah, Billings is going to take it on again, and he's comfortably home. Again, Hampshire are just struggling somewhat to try and keep these ones down to 1. It's a good aggressive running from this Kent pair. Joe Weatherly, that was, running in from the deep backward square leg boundary. 110 for 3 in the 13th, Kent, having won the toss and elected to bat first. These two came together when the score was on 71. So on our calculations, they put on 39, I think that is. That's worked away on the onside. This could be 4. No, James Fuller's around in behind that quite nicely, but it's a comfortable 2 this time, on 12 for 3.
It'll be hot work for these two, won't it? They've run so many 2s, you said, on a real absolute pace. Sprinting as well, but it's worked well so far. So 9 off the over.
Yeah. Last ball of the 13th over here. It's Dawson. That was his last ball of his 3rd over. Comes in and bowls, gives himself a little bit of room there. Hits that behind square on the offside. That's half stopped. May not have gone to the boundary, but certainly that's a good diving stop from Nick Gubbins, who's into the side for the injured Ali Orr. 114 for 3, 13 gone.
I think that's deliberate from Billings. Just didn't shave enough off it to get it past the field. It's a really good stop. They've got themselves 2 in any case. 14 for 3. Billings on 33 from 22. Joe Denley 12 from 13 so far. Billings just down on his haunches, chatting to Joe Denley. Punch of gloves between the two of them. They've run really well, as Kevin was saying, making 1s into 2s. So change of bowling at this end. James Fuller is replaced by John Turner, who went for 16 in his first over in the power play. So we're saying, though, Kevin, he didn't bowl badly, but it was an onslaught from Daniel Bell-Drummond, prepared to take him off a length. Left his bouncers to the boundary as well. He'll bowl to Joe Denley, running away from us now. 6 on his back. Denley makes himself room and drives that into the offside. Stop. What a stop that was. My eyes already drawn towards the boundary, but that's been stopped at cover. Just want to see who that is. Liam Dawson. What a great stop that was. Again, that's hit with real force by Joe Denley. It's a dot ball, courtesy of some very fine fielding indeed. 114 for 3. So Turner to Denley. So this one tries to pull this one away. It's looping up. It'll fall short of the field, though, at long on. Again, he's trying to cart that over forward a square, perhaps on the onside, but it's ended up at long on. As maybe just got a little bit big on him, maybe quicker than he thought. High on the bat, loops up. They get themselves a single anyway, though.
Yeah, no infielders on the leg side. You can miss-hit that and get away with that, can't you?
I suppose that's the risk-reward, isn't it? He knows it's unless he top edges it, it's going to be more or less safe. Here's a man inside the circle at fine leg, but it's deep backward square, mid-wicket, long on. As Billings comes forward, just attractive flay into the offside, that one, but fielded by Weatherly on the offside boundary, so just a single. Again, they are hitting hard, these two, but not able to find the gaps in this over so far. There's John Turner. His breakthrough year last year, was it Turner's?
Yes, had a very good debut year, 22 wickets.
Ended up playing in the 100 as well. And Turner too. Denley goes to the ramp. Will he be caught off it? Oh, he's dropped. He's dropped. He's just ramped that away. Innovative shot. And the fielder, I think, was trying to just anticipate which way that was going to go. Found himself on the wrong foot, perhaps. Got both hands to it, though. Did James Fuller, and has put it down, though. What will that cost them, I wonder? They come through for a single. Then he goes on to 14.
Well, it kept going, and he was there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't difficult. What's that, about thigh height?
So Turner to Billings, he goes for the paddle, and that'll be 4, it will indeed, over the keeper's head, and just lifts it through fine leg, and that's 4 runs again. As Ken was saying, it's a difficult thing being a bowler in T20, as Billings is just using John Turner's pace against him. The 50 partnership is up, Billings 30 of them, Denley 14.
31 balls, that 50. It's really worked for Hampshire so far.
Yeah, 1 ball to come of the 14th, and they're 121 for 3. What do you do with the wicket here, Hampshire, just to slow things down as these two getting into their work? From a Kent point of view, these two can be there at 16, 17 overs maybe. Well, beyond ideally, but got himself runs on the board again. Billings tries an improvised shot and it loops away to the leg side. Keeper was the most interested, it was never going to get there, Benton McDermott, and that's a single. Just wonder if it was a leg by for a second. A bit sort of bat and pad up in the air on the leg side as he again tried to, on the offside rather, try to lift it away, but ended up falling harmlessly from a Kent point of view. Single off the last ball of the over. Billings has 39, Denley has 14, the Kent Spitfires 122 for 3, 8 off the over.
Yeah, good partnership between these two. Jo, who's normally on the ground, doesn't miss a game, so the fact that she's not here, you know there must be something big going on. Jo was emailed, sunandcricket@gmail.com. Says, sadly not in the ground today as we'll be heading to the other stadium. She says the wrong stadium, but it's the other one. Later today for Ollie Mers and Take That with Mum, Dad. Of course, Dad's name is Bill, but I call him Mr. Joe. Is there listening in with his earpiece? So you might surprise him if you read this out. Great start for Woody today, as it was. Hoping to hear a Hampshire win to get my evening off with a bang. Good luck to all those going to the Take That concert tonight.
I know you don't need luck.
Well,
yeah.
Good luck, or just, what do you say for concerts? Enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show.
Something like that, yes. Fuller's on at the pavilion end, comes in and bowls, and it's short, and it's pulled away by Billings along the ground, out towards deep mid-wicket. They're going to take the throw on. And the throw comes in, but again, the batters are home. They can't keep running these two, surely. The puff, the energy is somewhere, has got to drain out of them somewhere. 38 years old, Joe Denny can't keep running twos like this, surely. Anyway, Denny's on 14, but Billings is on 41 from just 26.
Yeah, he's kept himself in pretty good nick, as Joe Denny, I think it's fair to say. Yeah, just 2 4s and 1 6 in this 41 from Billings so far.
124 for 3. Here's Fuller again, down the wicket, pulled away by Billings this time, out towards deep backward square leg, and they jog through as if they need a bit of time to actually summon the energy for the next hard run 2. They've literally walked that single. But 125 for 3.
As you say, sprinting so many of these twos.
It's
not a jog through, is it? They're absolutely going hell for leather, so we'll take something out of the stamina, you'd think, but Billings 42 from 27. Important not from him today.
Yeah, terrific. Set Full at the top of his mark, starts it just outside the 30-yard circle from that far end as we look. He's running towards us now. Bowling to Joe Denley, down the leg side. Denley lets that one go by because he knows it's a wide. Slightly slower ball as it's on the second bounce through to McDermott. Score remains, well, score moves on to 126 for 3. We are 2 balls into the 15th over here. Kent in a good position. They were 59 without loss, lost 2 wickets on 59. Bell, Drummond and Mieye. They lost Crawley on 71. This partnership has put Kent firmly back on track. As Fuller comes in again to Joe Denley, and Denley's pulling that away on the onside, goes quickly out to deep square leg, and they just jog the single. It's either one thing or the other, isn't it, really? They've gone from one end of the scale to the other. It's either a slow jog or a walk to actually full pelt. There's nothing in between. They don't do in between.
I guess there's a reason for that, isn't it? If you hit it hard enough almost, it's going to be a single. Right. Sounds ridiculous if you...
There's no point. If it was a bobbly outfield, then I suppose they would put the fielders under pressure, but this outfield, of course, like most countergrounds, all countergrounds really, all pretty level and smooth and quite nice, really. 127 for 3, here's Fuller. Bowling, has given himself some room, it's down the leg side, and that'll be a wide. I think Fuller may just have seen Billings moved to the leg side, so tried to follow him, and of course Billings then sort of almost moved back, or certainly stopped.
Yeah, he's got even further out, doesn't he, to try and to pin Billings there. Bit of a sort of matador hip movement by Sam Billings there, to let the ball go past. And
matador hip movement.
Yeah, a little swerve there.
Fan of the bullfight?
Not at all, no, I have to say. But
128 for 3 then.
Think of another allegory for that.
Here comes Fuller. It's full, and Billings does well to open the face of the bat and work that out on the offside. Liam Dawson falls over as he tries to throw the ball back to the keeper.
I call it a rumba or samba hit movement, but these days people are absolute experts, aren't they? Having watched seasons and seasons of Strictly Come Dancing, so I know I get myself into trouble for that as well. So I'm going to go away and do some homework, Kev. You're absolutely right.
No, but I thought that was a really good description. One that I've not heard before.
There we go.
29 for 3. 2 balls left of the 15th. Denley on strike, 15 from 17. Here comes Fuller, bowls. Denley works that full delivery out on the onside. It's come off the bottom of the bat, and there's the slow jog walk. Just put the bat down at the end at the very last minute type of run this time. 130 for 3.
Almost looked like Sam Billings was doing that to make a point. He'd be moving so slowly at the end of that. He was sort of creeping.
Incredible, isn't it? It's either absolutely hell for leather, or nothing.
They've conserved a little bit of energy, I would have said, in this over, haven't they?
Billings is only 32.
Spring chicken.
Tried to heave that away on the leg side, wrapped on the pad there. The old front foot was wide outside leg stump. Couldn't quite get underneath the ball there. Good end of the over there from Fuller. 130 for 3. 8 runs off it though, and we have 5 overs left.
I suppose sort of conventional wisdom on this from T20 would be try and target 10 and over for the last 5, and that would take them to 180. I think that would be good going on this pitch, to be honest. The way Hampshire bowled, they can get themselves to 180. More than that, I would say would be a bonus. Below 170, you might think going to be in trouble on this pitch.
It looks a good wicket, doesn't it, at the moment? It was a pretty good wicket the other night, to be fair. Hampshire just lost 3 wickets in the power play, which set them back somewhat. They did well to get to 169. But for a very powerful Surrey side, even though they're missing many England players, that was
batting and bowling lineup is.
I'd say it was a breeze. Tom Curran got him over the line mainly.
Liam Dawson to bowl his last over. He's gone for 24 from his 3, the left arm spinner. To Denley, comes down the pitch. Actually ends up driving that out towards extra cover, and there'll be a single. Again, it's got there too quickly for them to have to run for a second. 31 for 3. It seems completely counterintuitive, but that's he's hit it too well almost to get themselves 2 there. Billings on strike. He has 43 from 29 so far. The Spitfires captain goes to the reverse there, has telegraphed it, it's snurdled off bat and pad. He doesn't wait to look at the finger going up. Ben McDermott dives to his right. I think he's okay, he's gone down very heavily, maybe just got the wind knocked out of him, but has taken that catch. Sam Billings goes for what could be an important 43 from 30 balls for Kent, 2 4s and 1 6. His stay at the crease has gone, but it could go either way here. It might be an absolute vital wicket for Hampshire to take. We'll see what batting comes next. Joey Everson will come in at 6. The young all-rounder replace Sam Billings, gone for 43.
Well, super innings from Sam Billings. But what a catch from Ben McDermott. It went up in the air, looped up in the air, and he did quite a wide circle, didn't he? Almost did 360 degrees, trying to work out where the ball was.
It was spinning in the air.
Yeah, it was. Did very, very well indeed. Looks like he fell awkwardly. He's on his knee. Well, he's got his hands on his knees at the moment. Probably just winded him as much as anything. Sometimes if you fall a little awkwardly like that. But the fact he held onto the ball was a fantastic effort. But Sam Billings, great innings from him. 30 balls? Yeah, 30 balls.
Yeah.
2 4s and 6.
30. And the stand of 60 with Joe Denley. So Dawson it will be to Joey Everson. I'm still in the habit of looking to make sure the batsman can cross, but that doesn't actually apply anymore, does it? That's I'm living in the past. I'm living 2 years ago as Everson just nudges this into the onside to get off the mark for a single. But, rules have changed across cricket, haven't they? In all forms of cricket now. There's no crossing while the ball's in the air to get yourself back on strike, which as Dawson bowls to Billings on the back foot, driving up to James Fuller for a single at a long off. used to help the batting side, didn't it? Because you could almost go, you could sacrifice yourself, what they call a sacrifice fly in baseball, don't they? You put the ball in the air and it allows you to cross, so whatever happens to that ball, you can get the right batter back on strike. But these days, this is Denley just driving it gently up to long on this time, not taking any liberties with Dawson. I wonder if this is a case, there's only one ball to come here, they're just going to see Dawson out for the rest of this over, and then it'll be the end of him in bowling anyway for this match. 1 for 28. As Denley faces, no, he gives him the charge, and that's up in the air, could be caught on the boundary, and is. James Fuller does really well, gets round the boundary early, about 10 yards to his right, sets himself, and Denley is gone. Those are 2 huge wickets for the Hampshire Hawks, with Kent losing not only skipper Sam Billings, but also the man that shared in a 60 partnership with him, Joe Denley, in the same over. Denley gone for 18 from 21 balls, and that will set Kent a very interesting task for the last 4 overs, with the lower middle order and tail to try and push them towards a convincing score. At 134 for 5 now. It does look like the shoe is on the other foot. Hampshire advantage, I say, at this point.
Yeah, another good spell from Liam Dawson there, and James Fuller just punching the air there when he held on to that, because he did drop Denley on 14. Wasn't particularly expensive, but he's taken 2 catches in the match. As James Fuller, the caught and bowled, that got rid of Daniel Bell-Drummond. The ball went absolutely high in the sky. It was up there for absolutely ages. Good caught and bowled.
Marcus O'Riordan, sorry, just say Marcus O'Riordan coming in place of Denley now, but Joey Everson on strike.
Joey Everson, just 22 years of age, playing his 11th T20 game for Kent. Played just the 1 for Notts before he joined Kent. Here's Benny Howell then, with his ever so slow medium paces, and then different speeds from that, and that's worked away on the leg side. Never more than about 2 or 3 miles in it either way, I don't think, miles an hour. At 135 for 5, so Riordan into bat, 26 years of age.
Yeah, got himself a little cameo of 13, including a mighty 6 against Middlesex on Friday. It's a utility cricketer, I would say. Just good at everything.
Howell bowls, pulls that away, and that stops at mid-wicket. Super stop there from James Vince. So 135 for 5. We're in the 17th over here. The cut-off time, I think, is 2:18. We're at 2:06 at the moment, so Hampshire should be all right. As Howell comes in again, and that's flat batted back to Howell this time. No run, so that's 2 dot balls in a row. Haven't seen too many of those this afternoon. The crowd here in the sunshine. Beautiful afternoon. Perfect T20 weather. Many people said that before the start of this game, and that's hammered away on the leg side. He's got that over mid-wicket. It's gone down to wide mid-on. I think that's Nisa at the far end of the ground. 2 runs. Comfortable 2 runs for the Kent pair. And Riordan is off the mark. 137 for 5. 2 balls left of over number 17.
And O'Riordan will probably play the Benny Howell role, if that makes sense, and Matt Parkinson the spin when they have pace off and O'Riordan's off breaks.
Reverse sweep there, and he's bowled. 2nd wicket for Benny Howell this afternoon, and Riordan goes for 2, and Kent now 137 for 6.
And very much advantage Hampshire now here. Kent have to, I was going to say rebuild this innings, but in danger of just letting things slide. This nagging bowling from Benny Howell. As Kim was saying, his 2nd wicket, 2 for 19 so far. The 17th over. Swanepoel will come in next, the South African. We've seen he's very much prepared to swing from the boundary. Even in his first county championship match, he got 50 and basically played a shotter ball, more or less. So on Friday, just got out. Hit one very crisp boundary, out next ball caught. So got an idea of what we might expect from him, although Kent really needs someone to stick around just for a few deliveries here, don't they? It's not a lot, doesn't seem like a lot rather, 19 deliveries, but they need to make the most of them. Grant Stewart will come in next, he really does like to biff the ball. But at the moment, Hampshire have a bit of a stranglehold here, I'd say.
Left-hander. He strikes at 159, so he won't hang around, you're right. Here's Howell round the wicket then to Swanepoel. It's down the leg side and it's missed everybody. It's a wide. It could be 4 wides. It's going over the rope. And Howell just looks at the ground and he's got that horribly wrong. And it's not easy for the keeper, of course, standing up. And the angle, of course, takes it even further wide down the leg side. 142 for 6. Swanepoel, part of the Sunrisers Eastern Cape side that won the South African T20. A.D. Birrell, Hampshire's head coach. Part of was the head coach for that. Won it 2 years in a row, the 2 editions of that. Swanepoel didn't actually play in the final. He only played 5 matches for the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Slower ball and what's that come off? Inside edge. The ball trickles down towards fine leg. I think it is an inside edge. I thought that had bowled him. Benny Howe, I think, was asking for the LBW. In the end, it's just a single. Quite. Not the best cricket I've seen, really. He's trying to give himself some room, and it could have been bowled, it could have been anything there, but it's a single anyway. 143 for 6.
Yeah, so once again, 3 overs to go. I think they need 170 plus here, Kent.
They've lost wicket in clusters, haven't they?
They have,
59
yes,
without loss, and then 71 for 3, and then that 60-run partnership between Billings and Denley, but they were 131 for 3. And then 137 for 6. Here they are, 143 for 6.
And Chris Wood is to return rather from the hotel end here. 2 overs, none for 5, and that is not flattering him. I think it's fair to say they just couldn't lay a glove on him. The openers who raced away to a 50 partnership, but Wood now to bowl to Swanepoel. Comes down the pitch to him, and it's. Doesn't sound like he's timed it. It's a little bit toe-endy maybe into the offside, and it's a single. A thinner sound, 144 for 6 then, and Joey Everson comes to strike, 3 off 3. Really announced himself in his first season on loan to he was on loan to Kent, and they won the One-Day Cup, and he scored 98 in the final. At his former home of Trent Bridge. That went down well with the locals, I can tell you. As Kent signed him, 144 for 6, but looks a really promising player, just 22. It's Wood to him, drives though, again, doesn't look particularly well timed. Chris Wood is finding something perhaps in this pitch that no one else is, and well, I wouldn't put it past him. He's an experienced campaigner, obviously, variation, nipping the ball around.
Yeah, Hampshire's highest wicket taker in this competition with 186.
He has deserved a wicket, he may get one. Swanepoel now facing him, the left-hander, dances down the pitch, that's very wide, I think it's fair to say. Yeah, a rare spray from Wood there, because I don't know if he was expecting Swanepoel to dance way outside the off-stump, but he was just trying to perhaps flirt with the blue line outside the off-stump and just make it unhittable, but wide instead. Not much harm done. 146 for 6. Spitfires, that one gets close to Swanepoel. He's going to be caught as well, as he's tried anything to just fend out, I think, off his chest and get to clear the infield. It's fielded at backward point, or caught at backward point, and he has gone for just 2. Never got settled, and that's Toby Albert with a catch. And Chris Wood with the bowling. He's been excellent for Hampshire so far. And Kent just rocking a little bit here.
Well, you're right. I mean, 170 looked almost a foregone conclusion for a while, didn't it? But I think they might do pretty well. I think a lot rests on Grant Stewart here. Big strike of the ball, as you say. He strikes at 162, but he certainly won't be hanging around.
Just in terms of distance he can hit, he's certainly a big hitter, but they still have, where are we? It's 15 balls, isn't it? Still left.
Yeah.
So these two need to put something together with it'll be Bartlett to come after them. Here's Wood then to Stewart. Stewart, just a little bit uppish into the offside, but circumspect from his his pugnacious standards. It goes for a single into the offside, and this one added to the score then. 147 for 7 Spitfires coming towards the end of the 18th. Will be fascinating to see how this pitch wears as it gets slower during the Hampshire innings. It's gone for that one, Everson. That's gone up in the air towards the offside. Safe. They'll come back for a hard run too. Stewart just had to put the afterburners on, I think, as he saw the throw coming in from James Fuller. I think he was thinking it was coming quite that quickly, but they do get themselves back for 2. So 149 for 7. One legitimate delivery to come from Chris Wood, who has 1 from 11 so far. Ball shy of his 3rd over, and Everson tucks this into the onside up towards long on. Takes the strike for the start of the 18th over. It's 150 up for Kent Spitfires. Exactly 150 for 6 at the end of the 18th. It's another great over from Chris Wood.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the cut-off time. I think it may just have gone to 19 minutes past. Either that or it's 18. I couldn't quite make it out on the screen, which means Hampshire need to start the 20th over before that time. It's going to be close. I just noticed Chris Wood actually 1 or 2 balls in that over, just sort of getting a move on as he made his way back to the end of his mark. But anything happens here, a few boundaries, and it just slows the play a little bit. Hampshire might be in trouble. If they are, then one fielder gets taken out of the deep and put into the circle. That's the only penalty, but in a close game, of course, that can make a difference. Here's Turner from the pavilion end. He's given himself some room there. Works that on the onside. Hasn't quite reached deep mid-on. Joey Everson will pick up a single. Ball just followed him a little bit. John Turner is starting to jog back to his mark. Hampshire very aware here that they need to bowl the next 5 balls pretty quickly. 151 for 7. Stewart on strike. 1 for 1. John Stewart's playing his 52nd T20 game for Kent. Gives himself some room, tries to hammer that away. Bowl goes between him and the stump, so not a wide. Ben McDermott doesn't take it cleanly. I think the ball just died on him a fraction. John Turner again jogging back to his mark. It's 1/4 on the clock. In fact, it's 2:16. I think that says 2:18. I'm pretty sure. I haven't got my binoculars with me.
No, it's either 18 or 19, but you're right. It has a 1 as a digit.
Pulls that away. That looks a good shot there from Stewart. Oh my word, that is a super shot. And it's over mid-wicket for 6. He's hammered that away. We know he can do it. Got to be careful here. He's a dangerous player down the order.
It's his 67th T20 game in total. He's played quite a lot for Italy as well, T20 internationals.
Oh, yeah, it's part of Gareth Berg's revolution, isn't it?
His mum is Italian, so I think that, he's not quite the...
oh, right. I thought if you'd visited Venice for the day,
well, no, quite.
Bergie was on the phone.
He is a proper claim to be an Italian.
Here's Turner. That's a short delivery, and that's a good one. Stewart wants a wide. He wants something. He's not going to get it. That's a really good, quick delivery, short from John Turner. That's what he's about. 157 for 7. I suppose now when you play the tourist tax at Venice, and you get a ticket for it, you can actually prove to Gareth Berg, saying, look, I was in Venice. Can I play for Italy? Yeah, please. Look, here's proof. Here's Turner from the pavilion end, bowls and next ball. That's hammered away by Stewart. Not as far this time, and this could be caught at deep mid-wicket, and it is. James Fuller takes his 3rd catch of the innings, and Stewart goes for 7, and it's 157 now for 8.
Yeah, indeed. So Grant Stewart, the big hitting lower order batter, has gone 4-7 without 1-6, 5 balls. Caught Fuller, bowled Turner. James Fuller, 2 wickets, 2 catches, proving his worth. He may get some runs as well. 157 for 8 then. And Xavier Bartlett will come in next with 7 balls to go. So it looks like Kent will at least use up their overs here, but they have crumbled from, as you were saying, Kevin, 131 for 3, 157 for 8 now.
So just explain Bartlett's situation, because his no objection certificate was revoked initially, wasn't it, by Australia?
It was for red ball cricket.
Red ball cricket. Right. Here's Turner then to Bartlett. Bartlett pulls that away on the onside. More work to do for Fuller. It's along the ground. Everson thought about 2. He was the first to the other end. And that is the end of the 19th over. It looks like Hampshire have done it by about a minute as regards the start of the 20th over. It's 2:18 showing on the board. So so it was only ever a red ball. He was always okay for the T20s.
Not always okay, no. So they withdrew the no objection certificate for the red ball cricket. I think because he's become more and more important to them. He's going up the pecking order, as it were, for seamers. Although he's not in the World Cup squad, obviously. But there was some question about whether he'd be able to play T20 at that point for Kent. But then they did allow him to, or have allowed him to. Would to Bartlett. The swing and a miss from him. It's just basically gone across the right-hander, nipped off the pitch through to the wicket-keeper, and that is a dot ball. Great delivery from Chris Wood.
Confirmation that there are 5 fielders on the circle, so Hampshire haven't been penalised because they literally started bowling at 4:19.
But yeah, he topped the wicket taking for Brisbane Heat as they won the Big Bash, and for the whole tournament rather. Did Bartlett. Batting now. It's a big thump on the pad, and he's gone. And Kent are 9 down, 158 for 9. And Chris Wood's afternoon just gets better and better, but that's all through his own talent. And again, it's a swing and a miss from Xavier Bartlett, and this time he is LBW to Chris Wood. Staying for 3 balls for his 1. And last man in will be Matt Parkinson, who's shown, certainly in the championship, hitherto unknown batting powers, but I'm not sure T20 is going to be quite to his liking. 4 balls to come, or possible. Kent 158 for 9 may fall short of using all of those.
Just watching that LBW decision on the replay, of course, bowling left arm over, there's no swing back into the right-hander. The ball has to be full, otherwise it's going to be pitching outside leg stump. I tell you what, it was dangerously close to being pitched, even though it's quite full. It was, I'd like to see it again, that's for sure, in slow motion, but even so. Could have gone either way, that LBW decision.
So Parkinson to face Wood now, and does engineer that into the offside. It's just gone over the fielder's head there, and I'm not sure that's exactly where he intended, but Benny Howe stretching extra cover, couldn't get it before it dropped. And Joey Everson, well, if anyone's going to face the last 3 balls out these, or either one rather, it would be Joey Everson that I'm sure they would choose, with due respect to Matt Parkinson's batting expertise. Yeah, he averages 4 in T20s, does Parkinson. Everson has 8. Again, Hampshire finishes off early, a couple of balls early. Swings Everson there. It's cut away, or driven, sorry, square. They come back for 2 and will make it as well. It's good running there. Didn't hit it cleanly. Got eventually out to Joe Weatherly, who's thrown it back in. And they do get 2 though. So 2 balls to come, 161 for 9, or 1 ball to come if Chris Wood can clear them up here. He has 2 for 15 from 3.4 overs. It's a fantastic bowling effort, and in fact they've done really well, Hampshire, to drag it back, to strangle the latter part of Kent's innings here. Will goes for it. Oh, he's hit Parkinson. He's hit Parkinson with the ball, the ball. So it absolutely thundered back at the non-striker. He's hit him on the left arm, and they haven't run him out. I think maybe that's the applause for Chris Wood, because Parkinson hit the turf really hard, clutching his left elbow, and he is back up. But yeah, applause for the sportsmanship there. Obviously Chris Wood had every right to run him out at the far end there, and has decided not to.
Might regret that if Hampshire lose by 1 run.
Well, that's ball to come, and it's a smear into the offside. It's better than that actually from Joey Everson, I beg your pardon. That's actually a lovely shot through the covers. I thought I was going along the ground to extra cover, but he split the field, and they do take 4, so 165 for 9. Kent finish. One would certainly hope that Chris Wood's sportsmanship there would not cost Hampshire anything, but Joe Everson finishes not out 14, Parkinson not out 1. Kent will be hoping he's okay to field and bowl, as it'll be very important to them, trying to protect. 166 to win then. Kent, at one point, Kevin, as he was saying, 131 for 3 with Billings 43 and a 60 partnership with Joe Denley. Bell Drummond got 42 at the top of the innings as they made a decent fist of the power play, 59 for 2, but Hampshire really fought back.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was a bit of fits and starts, wasn't it, in the innings? Sort of 180 looked on at one stage. Very similar total on this pitch, the same pitch as Thursday night where Hampshire made 169. Couldn't quite defend that one. We'll have to see how Kent go. But in terms of the bowling figures for Hampshire, the Chris Wood with 2 for 19 from his 4 overs, 2 for 23 from 3 for Fuller, 2 for 27 from 4 from Benny Howe, and 2 for 28 from the ever dependable Liam Dawson. Myself, Kevin James, and Matt Cole will be back with you in a few minutes' time for the start of the Hampshire Reply. because in a moment Hampshire will begin their quest to chase down that Kent total of 165 for 9. Matt Cole next to me from BBC Kent. Matt, how do you feel about that total?
It just sort of withered a little bit at the end, didn't it? I do wonder whether Kent should have been slightly more conservative with their shot play late in the innings, but so they're trying to get some momentum as well. But you were telling me we can go into this, I think, off the record, off mic. I was saying felt like Kent are a little bit under par that, particularly as they were 131 for 3 at one point. You were saying, but actually overall par scores, it's not far off on this, and it is a worn pitch. So
yeah. It's a total that anything could happen, that's for sure. It's over the many games that have been played here, around the 160 games have been won with those totals and games have been lost. So yeah, we can't really call it at the moment. Top scorers for Kent then, Sam Billings made 43 from 30 balls, 42 from Daniel Bell-Drummond, that was off just 27. They were the main run scorers. Zach Crawley, England's Zach Crawley made 20 at the top of the innings. A couple of wickets for Chris Wood, probably the pick of the Hampshire bowlers this afternoon. 2 for 19 from his 4, 2 for 23 from 3 Fuller, 2 for 27 from Benny Howe from his 4 overs, and 2 for 28 from Liam Dawson from his 4 overs. So Ben McDermott and James Vince are out in the middle. It will be Ben McDermott to face first. He didn't last too long. He was bowled by Spencer Johnson here in the first over on Thursday night, so he'll be looking, of course, to improve on that.
Xavier Bartlett to bowl the first one for Kent from this hotel end. 15 on his back. The Australian runs away from us to McDermott, his countryman. That's a great delivery, and that's nipped away off a length through to the wicket keeper. McDermott, to be fair, hasn't really played at that. It's just got everything inside. Just watching a couple from Bartlett to see what they do, but decent pace, Xavier Bartlett, proper fast medium, and nipping away off the pitch through to wicket keeper Sam Billings. 2 slips in, crikey. Kent have gone hell for leather. Looks like I think O'Riordan and Crawley certainly at second. Look around the field to see. They might have Joe Denley at first, but no, he's at cover as this one's down the leg side from Bartlett, just a nudge away from McDermott, square of the wicket, and a walk to the far end. Look at his captain James Vince on strike, zipping the ball around. More importantly, I suppose, for Kent, just checking. Yeah, Matt Parkinson is there, fielding at mid-wicket. The spinner was hit by a ball thumped back at him by Joey Everson right at the end of the Kent innings, and has just a couple of moments ago was just rather tenderly feeling just around the left elbow, but he is on the field, and they'll lead him, certainly Kent, to bowl here. Bartlett then with a little bit of adjustment to the field, 2 slips still in, and he'll bowl now to Vince, a little bit wide there, and Vince looks to cut that away, but again gently with no great force. And Joey Everson at point fields that. The 2 boundary fielders deep third for James Vince, and a man at deep backwards square as well. That's Chawanda Mayeye doing the boundary riding, who we didn't get to see him run between the wickets, but he's sorry I say that rather ruthfully, as he was out first ball, but you'll see him flying across the turf, that's for sure, in doing his fielding. Bartlett to Vince. Just keeps Vince honest there with one that nips back in towards the middle stumps, and Vince defends that, not in any hurry. It's probably about right as well, isn't it? They can have a look at these opening bowlers with them.
Well, I mean, the opening partnership didn't work at all on Thursday night. I know it was only 1 game, but so as I say, McDermott only lasted 3 balls, and Vince only made 9. So, yeah, a poor start. Hampshire lost 3 wickets in the power play. Just really struggled a little bit from there on. They did so well to get to 169.
It's Bartlett then. The Australian running away from us to Vince. Vince inside part of the bat. Not sure he intended to play it quite there, but it's along the ground again. He's not playing with hard hands, is James Vince. Just feeling his way into this innings. It's fielded by Bayer Swanepoel, the South African, at mid-wicket. Just take themselves a single. So ball to come with the first over. It's been a tight one so far from Xavier Bartlett. Against big signing for the T20 Blast. Bayer Swanepoel is the South African, the other overseas. Wes Agar, the Australian quick is injured, has a shoulder injury at the moment. Bartlett now bowls to McDermott. That's a lovely shot through the covers, and Beldrum will go after that, but he won't get there, and that will be 4 runs through extra cover. And well, it was a very promising over from Xavier Bartlett. Not quite as good as it when it ended up with that 4 from McDermott, but lovely shot from McDermott. Very low risk shot as well. Looked absolutely in control. Hampshire 6 for none after a single over.
Yeah, Ben McDermott got the most runs in the Big Bash League during the winter. High score of 95 for the Hobart Hurricanes, 261 runs.
So it's the
competition.
Highest wicket taker against highest run scorer.
There we are. So
There we are.
we've got to build that up even more.
Battle within a battle.
So we've got Swanee Pole then. So we've got the overseas bowlers in action straight away here for Kent. And as I mentioned earlier, if you just join us, Swanee were part of the Sunrisers Eastern Cape side that won the South African T20 competition for a 2nd time in a row. Part of A.D. Birrell's set up there. A.D. Birrell, the Hampshire head coach. Here he is, right arm over, bowls outside of the off stump, and Vince with no foot movement whatsoever leaves that alone outside the off stump and just sort of falls away over to the offside and allows his bat to keep him upright, leaning on his bat. 6 without loss then, and Hampshire chasing 165 for 9. So from here they need 160 to win their first game of 2024 T20. Kent looking to win their 2nd game in a row. Swanee Paul bowls. Vince off the back foot cracks that out to backward of point. Is that Miaye out there?
It is
away
indeed,
to our
yes,
right.
yeah,
Yes, it
14,
is.
yeah.
7 without loss then, Hampshire. It is a good crowd. It might sound a bit quiet here at the moment, but maybe not quite as many as Thursday night. Around about 6,000 there. We're not far away from that. We're certainly not anymore. But plenty of movement around the ground. Plenty of yellow Hawks shirts being worn by the crowd, dotted around, which is good to see. Here's Swanee Pole again, bowls, and McDermott was trying to find some room there, and in the end, wisely played that straight. Plays that out to the covers. Daniel Bell Drummond, the fielder.
Yeah, bowled well on Friday night. Swanee Pole just had the 2 overs, but 1 for 11 against Middlesex. Didn't get to come back at the death because they finished them off so quickly, but this one looks like it'll go a lot deeper than that. 7 for none, but started pretty well, pretty accurately.
Yes, comes in again from that pavilion end. And bowls. McDermott works out to mid-on. He's going to take a quick single. They have to hurry here. Throw comes in. The stumps are broken. McDermott's home. Just looks as though he took a little while to really get going, McDermott, but fortunately ran the bat in nicely.
I'm not sure, though, how convinced Grant Stewart was that he was going to run him out, even with the direct hit. It felt like almost an afterthought. The other
An apologetic.
So, yeah, just a bit of target practice, but between the 2 of them.
I was worried there momentarily. For about the first quarter of McDermott's run, I thought this could be close. 8 without loss. Swanee Pole in again, runs towards us and bowls to Vince. Vince gets one that comes back into him, plays that into the ground. Half fielded by Swanee Pole on his follow through. So 8 without loss, 158 needed from here. We've promised to mention the score lots because I know those of you watching on the live picture feed, there is absolutely no scores, no info, and you are totally relying on myself and Matt, which is rather worrying. Bit of pressure. Here comes Swanee Pole, more pressure than normal. Vince gets wrapped on the pad, but he's a couple of paces down the wick as he does so. End of the over. Good over, just 2 runs off it. Good couple of overs from the overseas players of Kent. Hampshire 8 without loss, need another 158.
It does feel, though, that rather than being in any trouble, these 2, that they are having a good old look and perhaps thinking that not necessarily a modest total, but there's no point in going hell for leather in the power play just to see this one through. Pick the gaps as Kent did, perhaps go for hard run 2s, but I'm rather projecting on them. But so it doesn't look like there's any panic there. They're not getting antsy, they're not playing rash shots. 8 for none, though. Grant Stewart will bowl from his hotel end, so Xavier Bartlett taken off immediately, or rotated I should say. It's not like he's been taken off for bad behaviour, is it? In T20 cricket quite often you'll see, and Kent will quite often rotate through the 6 overs of the power play, so no bowlers bowling consecutive overs from one end. Here's Stewart then to McDermott, a little bit on the leg side, and that's getting away from the field. I think it's Marcus O'Riordan flying after that one. Does well, but they'll come back in the end for a comfortable 2 then. That was just a bit loose from Stewart, leg stumpy, but McDermott again not throwing the bat at it, just playing it along the ground, conservatively through for 2.
It does feel like they've had a chat in the dressing room and they said, look, we can't lose 3 wickets in the power play.
Stewart then to McDermott, 1 slip in for him. Oh, it's flown over that slip as well. Zach Crawley, he's coming forward to smash the ball back over the bowler's head as Ben McDermott, or well, he's playing a sort of driving the covers there. Top edge. Zach Crawley's a tall man. No one else on the ground is going to get near that if he can't get near it, to be fair. He's got off the ground, thrown his arm at it, it's gone over him. Didn't look that far away from the right fingertips, but it would have been something extraordinary had it been taken. 4 runs anyway.
Yeah, he's a long way away from the ball as well. He's obviously trying to hit that over cover.
Yeah, it was a shot he rehearsed, wasn't it? I think it got a little close to him to do that. Stewart then to McDermott. McDermott just works that to Bell Drummond at cover. It's a dot ball, 14 for none. But again, it's risk reward, particularly in the power play, isn't it? We've got fielders up. He's just looking to take his chances through the offside there, exploit the fact they can only have 2 boundary fielders out. Kent for the first 6 overs.
Yep.
They've got a backward point and a deep backward square. The other 2 men on the boundary. Everson to our left, Mie to our right. Oh, it's a swing and a miss. Rather extravagant one by Ben McDermott. He just sort of looks around as if he didn't know quite where that ball was going, but was he looking towards the umpires thinking it might have been wide? It was outside the off stump, and he's thrown everything but the kitchen sink at it. It's gone through the wicket keeper.
I think it's quite a good bowling by Grant Stewart. I think he may just have seen Ben McDermott coming down the wicket at the last moment. Just banged it into the pitch a little.
Slip comes out, so there's a fine leg and a 3rd inside the circle now. Sam Billings is doing the traffic control, as it were. Denley goes back out a little bit at extra cover as Stewart bowls on leg and middle, and it's turned out towards mid-wicket, fizzed in by Marcus O'Riordan. I called him utility player. That sometimes it feels like a bit of an insult. He's good at what he does.
Who's that?
Marcus O'Riordan. He's a great fielder in the covers there, and he'll bowl some spin, get you some runs, which can be vital. Those 3 elements of the game, T20 especially. 15 for none here though. Coming towards the end of the 3rd over for the Hampshire Hawks. Stewart bowls now to McDermott, to Vince rather, just dropping a run to Grant Stewart. He thought about shying at the far end. I'm not sure anyone was backing up at the far end as the bowler field off his own bowling. So just takes the single. Does Vince. 16 for none then. Hampshire Hawks off the 3 so far. Again, just a single chance, I suppose. Ben McDermott could have gone anywhere when he top edged over Crawley at slip, but otherwise, as you say, Hampshire looked like they are playing within themselves.
Yeah, well, Kent had 17 off the first 3 overs, but then they really started to get a move on for the next 3 before they lost 2 wickets right at the end of the power play. So Hampshire are keeping tabs at the moment, but as I say, 3 big overs coming up for Kent at the corresponding stage. We've got Swanee Pole in again, and there's a big shout for an LBW, is it? Or is it what's that
No,
for?
I think it's a catch. I think they're looking for the under edge there.
Oh, out on the... Wow. Billings has got his hand on his head.
I said Daniel Drummond was very convinced at extra cover as well, wasn't he? He was
off his foot. Watch the replay there if you're watching the live picture feed. It's a bit inconclusive, really.
I was assuming it was for the catch.
I think you're right. Well, this Bell Drummond's appealing for an LBW, which would have been ridiculous from cover. Here comes Swanee Paul again, right arm over. Vince heaves that away on the leg side, all on the ground. They'll only get 1 though. Is that Denley out there, away to our left? He normally does the boundary fielding, doesn't he, for Ken? Even though he's 38. Still nimble and quick around the boundary. It's almost as if he enjoys it so much that he's never going to give that position up on the boundary. He's been doing it for years.
He's still an athlete, isn't he?
17 without loss then. Hampshire need another 149. We're in the 4th over here. It's Ben McDermott to face Swanee Paul. McDermott's on the back foot, works that out past the diving cover fielder, but Mie's on the cover point boundary, and it's just a 1. 18 without loss. Vince has 4, McDermott has 14 now. And it feels a slowish start. I don't think these 2 are going to run the 2s like Billings and Denley did in the middle of the Kent order. That certainly bought them a few extra runs, the way they were running between the wickets. Terrific stuff. Probably a good 12 to 15 extra runs on that Kent total because of that. Here's Swanepoel to Vince. Vince reaches for that one, gets a top edge, flies over the top of gully, 4 runs. Very wide there from Swanepoel.
Yeah, indeed. Probably was a reach, wasn't it? Had to get down and reach outside the off stump, but has comfortably carried the third inside the circle, 4 runs. That's just their 3rd boundary so far in this start of their innings, Hampshire.
Probably looked wider than it did because Vince, there was absolutely, again, no foot movement whatsoever, and he's just wafting outside off stump, but he really did have to get a reach. 22 without loss now, Hampshire need another 144. 2 balls left of over number 4 as Swanepoel bowls and Vince drives. Not sure if that was a caught and bowled chance. Certainly wasn't timed off the bat of Vince. Just watch that one again. Don't think it was. Swanepoel bowls. Well, it might be. No, it was. That's a drop caught and bowled.
I just thought from Swanepoel's reaction, looked like he just looked to the heavens, didn't he, after that? I mean, it's... What's the phrase? It either sticks or it doesn't. It's straight back at the bowler at some pace. But
so a life for Vince there as Swanepoel comes in again. Vince pulls that away on the leg side, finds Denley again at backward square leg, and that will be the end of the over. So 4 overs gone here. We've still got 2 overs left of the power play, and Hampshire find themselves 23 without loss, chasing that Kent total of 165 for 9.
I don't know if that is consider that a drop. I suppose it's straight back at the midriff, isn't it?
So that's definitely a drop. I mean, some bowlers seem to be in better positions on their follow-through than others. I'm just not sure Swanepoel there. I think there was a slight mishit as well there from Vince, which may just have helped Vince in the end, actually, with Swanepoel's reaction.
Xavier Bartlett is back in the Kent attack. And his first over of the piece, actually going for 6, none for 6, 23 for none. Hampshire Hawks, or Hampshire Hawk, as it says on the scoreboard to our left. It's a single hawk. As Bartlett bowls, he's done really well. He's tucked Vince up on the off stump there, trying to work the ball away, but it's nipped back into him. Good length ball.
One-man team. The Hawk. That's it. Forget the other 10.
And will you name that person?
No,
you take your reputation.
No.
So you have to come back here.
What's up to the S then? They obviously can't fit that in.
That'll be it. Yeah. Get all of Kent Spitfires on. It's Bartlett. It's swung away by Vince, but on the ground towards the square leg. Mieye feels it's just a single.
Did they have Kent Spitfires though as the main team when they were batting? I'm sure I noticed.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to work out how many words there are.
You can get more people in a Spitfire than a single hawk, obviously. Mind you, hawks aren't that big. There's no time for those digressions, I understand. 24 for none. As Bartlett, 15 in white on his cherry and blue shirt, runs away from us. Bowls to Vince, to McDermott rather. Quick run taken, but McDermott never really in trouble. Taking the run up to Stewart inside the circle, and just say it's a quick start this one from Hampshire, but they really haven't been flinging the bat either. Perhaps they saw when Kent tried to do that. There wasn't a cavalcade of boundaries at any point, was there? There wasn't a point at which...
Just good running.
Even when Bell Drummond or Crawley or Billings had got going, when they were hitting 4-4, 6-6 or whatever, there was only one big over, I think, wasn't there? The 20 taken off Nisa in the power play. So maybe Hampshire have seen that and said, the 1s and 2s could get us there. This one's straight back at the bowler, Bartlett. Just for once, think Vince... Well, I don't know, body language, maybe just a little bit frustrated with not being able to get that ball away as well. Bartlett's been really accurate. He's just movement off the pitch, taking the ball away and into the right-handed batter. Vince has 10 of 16.
It's been a good few months for Bartlett, isn't he? Because he's starting to make his mark for Australia, isn't he?
Yeah, he took on his ODI debut, took 4 wickets against West Indies, then 4 wickets in the next game as well. Played the first T20 against them as well, took a couple of wickets. As he bowls now, Vince comes down the pitch, and that is out towards the mid-wicket, and will go for 4 runs. And Marcus O'Riordan trying to make it across the turf, but that's muscled through the onside by James Vince, and he gets himself a boundary. Hampshire Hawks 29 for none.
Yeah, he didn't time that. Got enough on it though. Slightly short boundary away to our right, but it's still a good size. But, that certainly wasn't out of the middle of the bat.
So ball to come of the 5th over. Still 7 deliveries then to come in the power play. Hampshire Hawks 29 for none. Vince comes down the pitch there as he pierces the field on the offside. He's got it past the man at extra cover. Stewart is trying to make it. Will he stop it? He will. Great fielding by Stewart. Looked like a lost cause, but he stops it eventually to save. Just a single run though for Kent. It's 3 from James Vince, and Hampshire Hawks 32 for none then at the end of the 5th. Just take a quick check back on Kent. It's not a million miles away, is it? But, well, they were 53, I beg your pardon, after the 5th, but obviously they've all got 10 wickets in hand here, Hampshire, and a lot of batting to come as well.
Yeah, it was these 3 overs that were pretty good for Kent, weren't they? Bell Drummond and Zach Crawley were getting stuck in at this stage. I've just worked out why there's Kent Spitfires on the board and there's Hampshire Hawk, because Kent Spitfires has 13 letters and Hampshire Hawks has 14, and clearly there's only room for 13. So that's why I think.
So Kent got off lightly there.
Yeah.
In Fury, it might have been Kent Spit, I suppose.
A smaller board would probably
Very
have that,
vigorous,
wouldn't it?
yeah.
Yes. But, yeah, so that's why. Well, I think it's why. Here's this is Swanee. Oh, Stewart, isn't it? Changing ends, and that's cracked away up to extra cover by Vince. But there's a line of fielders there, and he can't pierce it. And there is no run. So we have 5 balls left of the power play. Hampshire 32 without loss, needing another 134.
I almost feel like both sides will be all right with this at this point. If that makes any sense whatsoever, it's Kent will think, 30 odd off 5 overs in the power play in Hampshire.
Stewart, right arm over, bowls. Vince gets a bottom edge on that past the diving Billings, and it's going down to fine leg for 4 runs. Try to hammer that away on the leg side, bottom edge. Just past the outstretched gloves of the Kent captain. Takes Hampshire on to 36 without loss, and there are 4 balls now left of this power play, and then Kent can go slightly more defensive.
It does look like James Vince towards the end of the previous over, and this one is trying to force more now, isn't he?
Yeah. Stewart, 8 balls he's bowled, gone for 12 runs now. Just takes his time, ready for this next delivery. Billings is just waving some fielders away on the leg side by the looks of it. Vince hammers that away on the leg side, but straight down towards deep mid-wicket. And that will be a single. Vince moves on to 22. That's from 21 deliveries. And Hampshire Hawk are 37 without loss. Need a bigger scoreboard. That's not big enough, that board.
You're going to complain to
Well, it's huge. I mean, to be fair, it's quite big, and there's 2 of them. But obviously not quite big enough.
need to just take the point size down on the font. Is that right?
Yeah, it should be Hants. Maybe Hants Hawk. Hants Hawks. Maybe. Obviously Hampshire is the most important name on that board at the moment. That's pulled away by Ben McDermott down to backwards a square leg. There's Joe Denley once more. Fairly regulation piece of fielding for him.
So Hampshire went back to Hawks last season, was that the first time?
Yeah, somewhere around there, last season or 2. Yeah, they were just Hampshire, weren't they, for a little while? And then
were they the Royals years?
Yeah, we
years
try not to say too much about that, but
okay,
there was just for a very brief moment, and then they went back to Hampshire, yes. Here's Stewart, pulled away by Vince, and he's got the gap this time. Denley's not going to cut that off. Come out the middle of the bat, on the ground, just pulled away, a little too short there from Grant Stewart, and Hampshire move on to 42 without loss, needing another 124. And there is 1 ball left of this power play, and Vince moves on to 26. That's come off 22 deliveries.
Yeah, biggest over of the innings so far as well. Double figures, so 10 off it.
Yeah. Grant Stewart just a little bit of a medium pace, right armers. From that top end, the pavilion end. Comes in again and bowls to Vince once more, and Vince works that away on the offside, can't quite find the gap. Miaya does well at backward a point, throws at the stumps at the bowler's end. McDermott just turning and making sure his bat is behind the line. End of the power play, 42 without loss then Hampshire, and the power play, Matt, for Kent?
It was 59 for 2, so they lost those 2 wickets right at the end, didn't they, from James Fuller's bowling. So ahead in terms of runs, Kent, but behind in terms of wickets. What was the par score say? That says that Hampshire are ahead. Feels about right. With no wickets down.
Yeah. Of course, lose a wicket or 2, and that suddenly rockets As I say, plenty of yellow shirts around, dotted around in the crowd, which is really good to see. Shows there's plenty of home support.
Well, this will be interesting. This is Matt Parkinson, former England leg spinner. His first full season for Kent. Spent some time on loan from Lancashire last year, but his first T20 game on Friday for Kent. Saw him take a hat-trick rather. Bowled to Ben McDermott now, took 4 wickets in total against Middlesex, and it's a tipped a bit toe-endy, smear into the offside. It finds the man at cover. That's Joey Everson. So fielders outside the circle now, deep backward square. Boundary rider more or less on the leg side, forward a square, long on, long off, and this man who is a boundary rider on the offside. They'll take a single towards Joe Denley.
One or two of the spinners on this pitch actually on Thursday night managed to get the ball off the straight. It didn't turn every ball, but one or two just deviated off the straight, so Matt Parkinson might find the same here.
Vince on 26 now from 23. Signs he's warming into this innings. These fractional movements, the fielders at deep cover and extra cover. This one, Vince just waits for this one and finds that man on the boundary rope on the offside. Joe Denley single taken. You can understand them not trying to take any liberties with Parkinson at this point.
This feels like a James Vince looking to bat 20 overs type innings, as opposed to a James Vince just having a little go whenever he feels like it.
Yeah, and if he does, as McDermott just to pierce the infield again out towards Joe Denley. Natural spin is taking the ball away from the right-handers, and they've played it with the spin so far this over. So another single taken, 45 for none. Yeah, I mean, if he's there in over 20, I think it'll be over for Kent, and a victory for Hampshire surely. But Vince to face then. Parkinson bowling to him, waits again. He's doing an awful lot of pitches. He gets a bit of grip, but no great bounce. Another single out to, guess who? Joe Denley.
It's just a fraction too short, isn't it, really? It's just allowing the batters time to play it off the pitch.
So Vince is literally waiting for the ball, isn't he, as it comes to him. McDermott comes down the pitch, though, up in the air, and Swanepoel, well, that was a chance. Felt like to me, and has it bounced just in front of him? Not sure.
I think it did.
Yeah, I think it has as well. And he had a very sharp chance back in for a caught and bowled, and that one, I think, at long on, has gone up in the air. Can't quite tell from the body language, but yeah.
Yeah, my first thought was it was just on the half volley. When he got
with his back to us, there was no great shout, I think, from the or frustration from the fielders. He got there as quickly as he could. I don't mean that as a euphemism. He was coming around the boundary to it as well. But so a single taken at the end of the over, 47 for no wicket. Hampshire Hawks then 5 off the over.
So Hampshire are behind at the corresponding stage. Kent at this stage had 65, but it's a very measured reply here from Hampshire at the moment. As I say, Vince looks like he's in it for the long haul, if you can say long haul and T20 in the same sentence, but you know what I mean. Here's Everson then with his right arm medium paces. Ben McDermott pulls that away on the leg side, and they're just watching that sail over the rope. Are the fielders away to our left, and that is 6 runs. That is a huge, huge hit.
Well, that's a welcome to Joey Everson to the Utilita Bowl.
Hello.
As swings it away, and the 50 is up. The first ball of the 7th over, 8th over rather. It's a very healthy contact indeed.
So he's a very strong individual. There's Ben McDermott, that 53-run partnership of 43 deliveries. As Everson comes in again, and McDermott cuts that away, predictably wide outside off stump, but it goes straight to Bell Drummond at extra cover. So Hampshire need another 113 from here. The run rate required is a fraction under 9s from here on in. They're scoring at just over 7s. So they're keeping everything pretty much on an even keel. And we are into the 8th over here. McDermott has 25 from 19. Vince at the other end, 28 from 25. Here's Everson from the pavilion end, bowls. McDermott picks that up on the leg side. Is he going to be caught at deep mid-wicket? Out, gone. McDermott goes for 25. Good catch out there in the deep. And Hampshire lose their first wicket with a score on 53.
I think that's Zach Crawley, I think. It's a great running catch by the England man. It is indeed. got round to it quickly, more or less on one knee when he took it. That's a very good take indeed by Zach Crawley, and questions over perhaps Ben Swanepoel for those two half chances. But McDermott goes 25, swinging for the fences, but very obviously giving himself license to swing big there and try and make big inroads into this 166 needed. He's gone though, McDermott. 53 for 1 then, Hampshire Hawks in the 8th over.
Stephen Easton has emailed sunnycricket@gmail.com. He says, stuck at home for several weeks, can't drive, he says in brackets. After an operation at Southampton General on Thursday, it was great to be able to follow the Surrey match on BBC Radio Sun on FM frequencies as I lay in Ward D4 that evening. I had planned to attend that double-header before being summoned by the NHS much earlier than expected. Enjoying the live stream now and the usual commentary. Brilliant commentary, he says. Keep up the great work, Stephen. Thank you very much. And of course, we wish you well.
Very kind, yeah. Get well soon.
Stephen Easton, who's a very big Hampshire supporter, always at games. Has to be a huge excuse for him to miss a Hampshire game. A bit like Jo, but she's gone to the Take That concert. Sounds like some big excuses wandering around at the moment. Here's Everson round the wicket, this time to the left-hander Nick Gubbins, who drives towards extra cover. And there's no run. Nick Gubbins, an unfamiliar name in the T20 lineup, but he's playing because of Ali Orr, who broke his forearm in the game against Surrey here. Very first ball he faced, actually. So the fact that he went on and got 9 was a good effort. I think I was told that the adrenaline was there, but once the adrenaline ticked away, he suddenly went, ouch. Here comes Gubbins again. That's again driven out on the offside. This is only his second match, Nick Gubbins. He played against Surrey at the Oval a couple of seasons ago and made 0. So if he does get off the mark here, it'll be the first time in a T20 game for Hampshire.
I should say, talking of injuries, that Jack Leaning misses out again for Kent. With he's got a broken bone in his left hand during the Worcestershire game.
One of the familiar names in the Kent lineup. Well, Gubbins is bowled, giving himself a little bit too much room. Joey Everson celebrates. The leg stump knocked out of the ground, the other 2 stumps upright. And Gubbins goes for a 3-ball duck. So that's 2 matches for Hampshire in the T20. And I'm afraid for Nick Gubbins, it's 2 zeros.
Yeah, and Everson, real emotion behind that. To get rid of Gubbins early. Despite the previous evidence, obviously, of just 1 knock. Class batter. And 53 for 2. And it's not exactly mirroring what happened with Kent's batting, but 2 quick wickets again change things around. And it's the end of the 8th over. And 2 on over for Joey Everson.
So Joe Weatherly makes his way to the middle. Got 33 off 24 deliveries as Hampshire were rocked by those 3 early wickets. Was very much instrumental in their regrouping. Joe Weatherly's playing his 67th T20 game for Hampshire this afternoon. Strikes at 129, which is these days is about right, about par, isn't it, these days for top order batters. It's the ones that are into the 130s, 140s, 150s that you notice. 120 is more than acceptable though.
There's a lot of batting in this Hampshire side, isn't it? The scorecard I can see has Liam Dawson coming in at 9, but I imagine he might be a little bit further up than that.
He was in at 9 last.
Oh, was he?
Crikey.
Time. Well, there we go. There's a lot for Kent to get through if they're going to win this match. 53 for 2. Matt Parkinson, whose first over went for 5. Everson 2 for 6 from his first over. Actually, a very expensive start. In fact, that was the first ball, wasn't it? McDermott him for 6. So it was a great recovery from a Kent bowler. Parkinson then bowling to Vince, who does beat the man who's at cover. That's Marcus O'Riordan, scrambling to try and pick that ball up, but it's said Zach Crawley fields at a wide long off. They'll just take the single. So they haven't gone after Parkinson as yet. They may decide to target bowlers elsewhere from a Kent point of view. They've used 5 so far. They have the spin of Marcus O'Riordan and perhaps Joe Denley if they want to completely take pace off the ball, but Parkinson then bowling to Weatherly. Soft hands, plays it into the offside, forward a square, and it's a dot ball. 54 for 2. What a beautiful sight this is. Utilita Bowl. It's Parkinson bowls, doesn't spin very much on the leg stump. Well, he's trying to work that one past the man at mid-wicket, but nothing doing, and it's another dot ball. Don't build pressure here, Kent, but obviously this wonderfully appointed stadium, huge expanse of green grass, spectators wrapped with attention. A little paddle, it'll go over Sam Billings, the wicket keeper, but it's a gentle one by Joe Weatherly, and just takes a single from it in the end. Billings was trying to anticipate it going down the leg side and actually went straight over the stumps more or less. I don't think he would have got it anyway, but 55 for 2. And then a bank of trees beyond us as well. It's a very fine sight here indeed. From the gantry, the hotel end of the ground. A little nudge by Vince. They're thinking about a second. Could have had it actually in the end, but they weren't to know that Mayeye was going to misfield that, but just a single take on 56 for 2. 3 off the over so far, ball to come.
Good crowd, actually it's a good crowd today. It isn't far off Thursday night. Very, very close, I think. Wonderful.
It doesn't always work on a weekend afternoon because people have so many other options, don't they?
Yeah, I think they were a bit worried about the earlier
Sunday
start time at 1 o'clock, but that's okay.
It's Parkinson as Weatherly comes down the pitch, thumps it up towards long on, and it's fielded by Bartlett. End of the over, just 4 from it. So again, mirroring the Kent innings a little bit. A bit of a slowdown here. Take themselves 4 off the over at the end of the 9th.
57 for 2 then, so we've had 9 overs, we've got 11 to do. After 9 overs of the Kent innings, they were 71 for 3. So Hampshire a bit behind at the corresponding stage. Stephen Clark has taken issue with me about the most important name on that scoreboard. silentcricket@gmail.com. He's just emailed, I'm going to take issue with you. Vince and McDermott are the most important names on that scoreboard. Well, it's just Vince now, of course. Not Hampshire. Hampshire's name will still be there when we're 10 down. Correct. Very well pointed out, Steve.
Indeed, yeah.
So 109 needed by Hampshire, and here's Everson with his second over. 2 for 6 his first over. A good start from him as that's driven up to mid-off for a single. I say good start, his first ball went for 6, so great comeback.
Yeah, I was going to say it is a good comeback as well. And Joey Everson seems to be one of those very mature cricketers. For keep them to check him, his age of 22, he seemed to have very much found his feet in the championship and the Blast very quickly.
Everson right on medium pace from that pavilion end. He's bowling to James Vince. Vince pulls that away on the leg side along the ground. Joe Denley comes in, jogs in off the boundary. And Vince moves on to 31 from 28. This is, as I was saying earlier, James Vince in batting all 20 overs mode, as opposed to just coming out and have a lovely little thrash here. Joe Weatherly facing 3 off 5, 59 for 2 then. 107 to win as Everson comes in. Weatherly's on the back foot, works that out to back with a point. Should be at least be 2. A lot of work here for Mayeye to do, running round from deep cover. Jogged through both those runs, did Weatherly and Vince. And Weatherly moves on to 5, 61 for 2.
Yeah, just again, Vince not showing any particular aggressive intent. I think you were talking about it before, weren't you? Just trying to anchor this innings through, making sure he's there late. Should they need to up the run rate, I guess?
Yeah, they haven't put pressure on with the running either, have they? There's a nice drive there from Weatherly out for his extra cover. He's got work to do to his right this time. Dives, can't quite get there. Good shot, Joe Weatherly.
Yeah, it's a lovely shot. All the way through to extra cover, and he threw himself headlong at that, didn't he? Bit of a slide on the turf as well, but that was going just too quickly for the Kent fielder. Lovely placement.
Just took a step down the wicket, Joe Weatherly. Just got to get closer to the pitch of the ball. Weatherly moves on to 9. That's off 7 deliveries. Hampshire then 65 for 2. 101 needed from here. As in comes Everson again. Weatherly strokes it away, quite wide of off stump. Again, Mayeye's in the action, moving to his left. Stays on his feet this time, and it's 2 more to Weatherly. Quite wide delivery. Scored off every ball so far of Joey Everson's over of Hampshire. So far there's 10 runs off it.
Yeah. The required rate just a touch under 10 at the moment, 9.7.
Yeah, it's dropped by that 0.2 I think, isn't it, from a few overs ago, so at least it's not going up. That's the main thing. So again, Weatherly loses his feet and drives through extra cover. Again, Mieye's got work to do. He's running to his right this time. He's going left, right, left, right. Again, stays on his feet. Doesn't have to dive this time. Just looked like he's thrown his shoulder out there. I was just watching when he threw the ball in there. He just looked like he was in a bit of pain. End of the over. Good over for Hampshire, that one. 69 for 2. We're halfway through.
Yeah, Kent 85 for 3 at the same time, but Hampshire really did drag it back in the second 10, didn't they? Bowled really well. Kent finding it difficult at that point to accelerate much further once they got. They were 131 for 3 around about the 15th over. So let's go from here. If you're just joining us, Ben McDermott caught by Zach Crawley off the bowling of Joey Everson for 25, and Nick Govins was bowled by Everson for 9 in the same over. Obviously Kent making 165 for 9 from there, 20. Top score of 43 from Sam Billings off 30 balls. Great bowling effort from Chris Wood as well, with 2 for 19 off his 4. And here is Parkinson, the leg spinner. The back foot's driven back at him. Gets the left hand down but can't stop him getting a single in the end. This was a palm of apology to his teammates there from Matt Parkinson. Felt he should have stopped that.
Yeah.
2 for 2. Runner squeezed past him. So Joe Weatherly just settles for a moment. Field well spread, particularly on the leg side. There's 2s there. He wants to go against the spin. He comes down the pitch. He'll just get the 1 though. It's Marcus O'Riordan. Just a hint of a missed field, but he keeps them to 1 anyway. O'Riordan doesn't want to go past him. 1 more to the total for Hampshire. I do wonder if they're just going to see Parkinson off here. Cue a huge swing for the fences by Vince. There he comes down the pitch and thumps it hard up towards long on, fielded by Bartlett though. So Bartlett throws inside arm to the non-striker's end and another single. Parkinson so far has gone for just 12. No boundaries off his bowling, I don't think, so far. Weatherly with 14 on the board. It's a merging partnership with his captain James Vince. Back foot. Angles it past the man inside the circle on the offside, and Joe Denley fields, and it's 1 more. So 2 to come, single off each delivery so far. Hampshire Hawks 73 for 2. As Phil was posted deep backwards square. I think it might be Harry Finch actually, as the ball is again not quite up to Vince's toes. He can wait for it on the back foot and just nudge it up towards. Running up towards Zach Crawley at long off. So 5 off the over so far, but no real alarms really, these bowlers from the spinner.
I think Kent will be happy with this. It's 10 and over from here on in now.
They're farming it at the moment, but Weatherly comes down the pitch into the onside, fielded by Everson. They won't go for a second here as Joey Everson's on it quickly. So it is, 6 off the over. It's not a bad return either, is it? 75 for 2 at the end of the 11th. As you say, Kevin, 91 still to win, just over 10 and over now, with 75 for 2 at the end of the 11th here at the Utilita Bowl. Conversation between the 2 batters, Joe Weatherly and James Vince. As said, I think Harry Finch snuck on the field. He's just snuck off one again. There we are. So I don't even have to worry about who he came on for.
Been a bit of a worry if he did come on for somebody, because he's got the bib on still.
And he's on the far side here, just working his way around. Yeah, so maybe Bayes, one of the bowlers, just got off for an over possibly, but yeah, he's back off the field again.
Everson again, then 2 overs, 2 for 18 for the Kent all-rounder. 75 for 2, Hampshire need 91. There is 9 overs to go in this match. Joe Weatherly on 16 faces the first delivery of the new over. Weatherly loses his feet, steers that up to mid-on, but again, no real urgency in the running. That's definitely been a feature between these 2 sides. Not at any stage whether the ball's gone straight to the fielder or even just to the left or the right, have these batters really tried to put the fielder under pressure or look to turn 1s into 2s. They seem to be quite happy just playing the way that they're playing. Vince is 34 from 31.
It feels calm, doesn't it, from a Hampshire point of view? They're not just forcing the issue here, but
no, you just hope that you don't let that run rate required move up too quickly. It's over 10s now as Everson bowls. Vince works out to mid-on. Now they do run the first one quickly, but I don't think they're going to get two. They're not. They did look for it, to be fair, but quickly in at the far end of the ground. Who was that? Is it Swanee Pop? No.
It's Bartlett coming in from the boundary, I think, there. But yeah, I'm not being critical. I just wonder if that would have been a two, the way that Kent were running mid-innings. But
yeah, I'm not sure the first part of the first run was as quick as the sort of last two-thirds of it. 77 for two. Everson bowls. Vince works his way down the ground and works it on the onside, but there'll never only be more than one there. And Hampshire move on to 79 for two, I think that'll be. No, it's 78 for two. Tell her it was Weatherly facing. Weatherly's on 18, non-strikers end. So 88 needed. We've got 8.5 overs left in this game.
I'm like smashing the microphone there. Should learn to do that. I've been at this long, you know.
Everson bowls. Vince tries to heave that away on the leg side. Slower ball, well bowled. Goes through to keeper Sam Billings.
Yeah, it's good variation from Everson, isn't it? You say Vince is looking to absolutely smash him out of the park there for once.
So Billings is having a chat with Daniel Bell Drummond, maybe about a future bowling change. Who should be bowling where and what over the next 2 or 3 overs. Could be quite an important period of play, this actually, because the run rate required now is over 10.5. It's going up quickly. Here's Everson bowls. Vince comes down the wicket and bowled. Tried to hammer that away wide of mid-on, and it just clipped the off stump. And Vince goes for 35, and Hampshire now 78 for 3.
Yeah, Joey Everson there with all 3 wickets to go so far, and James Vince for once, just a bit of a dance down the pitch, wasn't it? Trying to make himself room to smash Everson away. It just isn't as easy to bat, perhaps, as we thought out there. You were saying perhaps this would get slower, Kevin, perhaps as the game went on. And, a bit more warm, but Joey Everson wheels away with a pretty conservative celebration, but 3 for 21 for him so far. Toby Albert comes out next for Hampshire, and James Vince will not get the opportunity to bat all the way through the innings.
No, it felt a bit of a desperation shot, that one. Just a little bit. He was coming down the wicket. It looks like he was just going to go through the shot anyway, no matter what. Just came across it somewhat. Joey Everson, terrific figures for him. 3 for 21. He's taken all 3 Hampshire wickets that have fallen. He has 1 ball left of his 3rd over. So Hampshire from here need 88. And Toby Albert walking out to the crease. Still a relative newcomer to this form of the game. It's his 25th match, but he played ever so well against Surrey here the other night after those 3 early wickets. Picked up his top score of 46 off just 32 deliveries. My word, Hampshire would need something like that now. Here's Everson then from that pavilion end once more. Last ball of his over. Albert comes down the wicket, turns that away into the gap on the leg side, and will keep the strike. So that is 12 overs gone, and we have 8 to do. Hampshire currently sitting at 79 for 3 after 12 overs. Kent were 103 for 3.
Yeah, and you can feel the disparity at this point, can't you? Just because Kent went really hard on the power play as well, which Hampshire decided to be more conservative through that period, perhaps to play for 1s and 2s rather than expanding further. 79 for 3. This would be, I have to say, from a Hampshire point of view, this would be a good win, you'd think. 11 and over from here, because it doesn't look like the ball's coming on particularly well, particularly not when Kent's taking pace off the ball. He said, obviously, this is Parkinson's last over, none for 15 so far for the spinner. Yeah, bowling to Albert, comes down the pitch to the spinner, sort of wristy flick into the onside, but doesn't really time it, and Joey Everson himself, who's taken 3 wickets to fall, stops it mid-wicket.
Seems to have got the length better, hasn't he, after that first over?
Yeah, Parkinson again to Albert. And that's a bit of a smear outside the off stump, but he could pierce the field. No, he doesn't. Oh, it's gone through him. Well, he does. And that's a collector's item from Joe Denley, I think. That's gone through Joe Denley on the rope. And I believe that's the first boundary off Matt Parkinson, which he won't be entirely happy with.
Well, I think in the, 21 years that Joe Denley has fielded on the boundary in T20 cricket, that's probably his worst piece of fielding.
Yes, I don't... safe as houses normally. That really has gone through. A reverse from Albert up in the air. Will it be caught? It will. Grant Stewart will take him. So they didn't have to rue that miss on the boundary, as it were, for long, because Stewart has taken him Albert's gone for the reverse and has top-edged it to Grant Stewart at what becomes a square leg, or a point if you like, to the right-hander. And Parkinson may have been a bit grumbly about the 4 that he conceded the previous ball, but he's got himself his first wicket. Grant Stewart takes the catch, and at this point, with Hampshire losing 2 quick wickets now, they are 83 for 4 now, and they're a long way out from here, from 166, with 99 to win, and they require right up near 11.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for Hampshire. It's been uncanny, isn't it? Kent the same, losing wickets in clusters. Hampshire have done the same, 2 on 53, and now 2 in the space of 5 runs. Somebody needs to get a grip out there a little bit if Hampshire are to get over the line, because the run rate is creeping up all the time. It's now over 11s from here on in.
They've got powerful batting down the order though, make no mistake. 4 down, James Fuller comes in. Parkinson has 3 balls to go of his spell. Fuller just on the back foot. Gently drive into the offside. A Saito on Matt Parkinson, fielded by Marcus O'Riordan. The Kent bowling looking pretty economical all round. As Parkinson bowls again to Fuller on the back foot. Muscles this up to long on. They'll take a single. And ball to come for Matt Parkinson. I think whatever comes from here, he's 1 for 20 off 3.5 overs. Despite the thump on the arm he got right at the end of the Kent innings as the non-striker. So Weatherly facing, he's on 18, responsibility on him now, and they'll just take a quick drop and run into the offside. Single taken, but Parkinson finishes 1 for 21 off his 4. That is a good bit of bowling. 4 for 25 on Friday. That's 8 overs of quality spin from Matt Parkinson.
Yeah, terrific stuff. I mean, he played a lot of games for Lancashire in the T20, 75, so he's very experienced at this level. Maybe just a fraction short in the first over, allowed the batters to get on the back foot and just work the ball into the gaps, but he quickly remedied that, and he's proved quite difficult to get away, not of course of help by Hampshire losing some wickets here. So 85 for 4, we've got 7 overs left, and that run rate required now is over 11.5 and over, with 81 needed. So he's going to have to play a little cameo here.
The past score suggests they're 17 runs off.
Yeah.
Feels about right.
So Joey Everson to bowl his last over comes in, and Weatherly works that away. They jog through for a single up towards deep mid-on. Weatherly moves on to 20 from 16. Fully, you feel he's well more than capable to get that ball way over the rope. Might need a couple just to get the crowd going, just to get the momentum and the juices flowing here, because it feels a little flat at the moment. As Everson comes in and his last over and bowls, and Fuller works that good length ball away on the onside. Now this is where there should be 2. They take 2 in between the deep mid-on and deep mid-wicket fielders. 2 comfortably for Fuller, moves on to 3. 88 for 4.
By the time Bartlett run around that to throw it back in, it was a comfortable 2, wasn't there? So they picked that and run the first one quickly, made it easy.
So Everson, 4 balls left of his spell, right on medium pace from that pavilion end, comes in. Fuller comes down the wicket, cracks that away past Everson, who gets a hand on it, does really well actually. It's a ball just bobbles behind him, but they'll come through for a single.
That was goalkeeper style, because he actually stumbled on his follow-through, so he's down on one knee. The ball came bouncing back, and he's tipped it over the bar. But he's great in the 5-a-sides. I don't suppose he plays in goal. No one wants to play in goal in the 5-a-sides today.
Not unless you make a good save. Everson bowls, slower ball, cracked away by Weatherly, backward a point. That should be 4, and it is. Much needed boundary here from Hampshire, just to get the crowd going, just to get them in the game and believing that Hampshire can actually get over the line.
Yeah, Harry Finch back on the sub-fielder, by the way, 72, but he's a very adept outfielder. We couldn't get to that one.
Weatherly moves on to 24 from just 17 deliveries. Hampshire 93 for 4, needs 73 as Everson comes in and bowls. Weatherly works that full-length delivery out on the onside. Don't think there's going to be 2. It's reached a fielder too quickly. down at deep mid-wicket. What's the one it is? Well, he moves on to 25 now. So 94 for 4.
It's 9 off the over. They haven't really been chancing their arm, have they? So.
No. And the run rate is still creeping up. It's nearly 11 3/4 and over from here on in now, even though it's been a reasonable over. But Kent will be happy. Always a fielder, when you look up at the board and you see the run rate required going up, you always helps, that's for sure, as Everson comes in again. Fuller tries to heave that away on the leg side. Doesn't take it cleanly, does Sam Billings, and they'll come through, I think, for a bye. Yes, it is. Billings somehow unsighted. Ball kept a little low on him, to be fair. End of the over. Good stuff from Joey Everson. 4 overs, 3 for 31. Picked up the wickets of Ben McDermott, Nick Gubbins and James Vince. And Hampshire from here needs 71 from 6 overs.
Yeah, I think Everson, particularly after the way he started, and hark back to that 6 from Ben McDermott, but that over, he took 2 wickets for no further runs and took what looked like a very important wicket of James Vince as well, 35, and celebrated that fulsomely. But 95 for 4. Certainly stranger things have happened than a side scoring 12 and over for 6 overs. Bears Swanepoel comes back, so they have 6 to bowl. Swanepoel none for 9 from his 2. This is interesting. I think they would leave Bartlett's 2 until the end, but they're bringing Swanepoel back now. Maybe I'll keep Stewart, perhaps 2 of his till the end, but the South African now runs in to bowl outside the off stump. It was wide, it was very, very wide. James Fuller did his best to make it not a wide by chasing outside the off stump, and so far out he actually sunk to his knees as the ball pitched and almost went off the cut strip. So 95 for 4. I won't say Swanepoel saw him coming, but Fuller did his best. As this one is just outside the off stump. That's a good ball. It's full and outside the off, and Fuller just shows a little bit of frustration. That's zipped through to the wicketkeeper. Dot ball.
Yeah, it's a good place to bowl, that, especially when a batter's looking to swing through the line and hit it fairly straight, or trying to drag it away on the leg side.
So 13 on his back. He's running away from us now. Swanepoel to Fuller, goes full again, no pun intended, driven up to wide long off, and actually Fuller slips. 2 murmurs, perhaps they could have been on their way for a second there, but actually Fuller had slipped at the non-striker's end anyway, so he wasn't going to make it. Crawley fields and they take a single.
69 needed from here on in. That run rate now is over 12 and over from here on in. And Weatherly and Fuller are having a chat now out there in the middle.
It may be that they brought Swanepoel back, Kent, for this very reason. If he can bowl single figures in this over, then
yeah, that's right. Get that run rate up to a
pressure.
point where the batters are really like slogging at it.
So, bowls. So deflected away, back of the square. There's a lovely shot. Pierces the field. Weatherly between the men at 3rd man, a backward point, and the 100 is up. I thought for a moment, Joe, whether he had zoomed to 50, but no, it was just a very excited. 100 up now, 14 and a half overs gone. 4 runs though, beautifully placed that.
Whipped up by the stadium announcer Chris Temple, who was doing the Champions League final at Wembley last night. He's had a busy weekend.
Every reason to be a little bit tired after that, I suppose.
You'd think so, wouldn't you, mate? You got the start time wrong before. He said 1:30 start. I texted him, saying it must have been a big night last night.
Consummate pro. Here's Swanepoel. And straight back at him from Weatherly. You can do nothing with that delivery. But 6 from the over so far, including the wide. 2 to come. 2 dot balls, and Kent will think we're right in it here. But a couple of boundaries, that changes everything. 101 for 4. 5 to come after this. Goes wide-ish, and it's cut out towards the offside boundary. It'll just be a single. Swanepoel's done really well there again. He's gone full, slightly wide. Not much for Weatherly to hit. Single there. 102 for 4. Hampshire needed 166 in total to win. Ball left in this 15th over. There's Swanepoel to James Fuller, through him again and through to the wicket-keeper. Again, he's gone full just outside the off-stump. It's really good bowling from Bears Swanepoel. Over's gone for 7, including the wide there. As I said, keep it down to single figures there, and it means that that required rate is increasing towards 13 now. 102 for 4.
Quick shout out because the Southern Vipers are taking on the South East Stars today, which affects, well, you know, both these sides are affiliated to those sides. The Southern Vipers made 142 for 6 off their 20 overs in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. The South East Stars in reply in the 10th over, 65 for 1. So the Stars need 73. In fact, there's 71 now. 73 needed off just over 10 and over, just over 10 and overs left, and 9 wickets remain here. 30 balls remain in this game, and 64 runs are needed by Hampshire, and it's going to be Joe Weatherly to face the next ball, and it's going to be Grant Stewart, from that pavilion end. 2 overs, none for 18. Stewart comes in, right arm over, and bowls. Weatherly goes for the slog sweep on the leg side. That's his shot, and he's picked it out, and he's got 4. That's his go-to shot, Joe Weatherly. Batters always like to have a go-to shot, don't they? When things are tight, when the pressure's on, you need one shot that you can rely on, and that's his.
Yeah, one big over here from Hampshire as well. They're going to need one big one at least, I think.
Yeah, they are.
But if they do it here, that really puts the pressure on Kent's bowlers as well. Sam Billings, more crowd control from him, moving the field around, keeping everybody on their toes.
60 needed from 29 deliveries. Here's Grant Stewart from that pavilion end once more. Weatherly comes down the wicket and works that out all along the ground to deep mid-wicket. Is that Zach Crawley out there?
It is, yeah.
Who took the catch to get rid of Ben McDermott in that position for 25. That was the first wicket to fall on 53. Hampshire here now 107 for 4. Need 59 from 28 deliveries. Fuller on strike, 5 off 8. A little bit down on his strike rate, but I'm sure that would change with a couple of lusty blows. As Grant Stewart will be trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Fuller goes on the leg side and works that away. That's going for 4 behind square. That's helped. This may just be the big over that Hampshire need. It's certainly helping.
Yeah, 9 off 3 balls. Need to go double figures from here on in, more or less, anyway. But it's a question whether they can go really big in 1 over. Up near 15-20 maybe.
Stewart's gone for 9 off 3 balls so far. Hampshire need 55 from 27 at 111 for 4. Grant Stewart just tinkering with the field on the offside. I would have thought he'd need to worry about it on the leg side, the first 3 balls, but maybe he's going to change his line. Maye's on the 45 on the offside. Short ball, Fuller hits it up in the air, but there's nobody on the leg side. The ball just balloons out to short mid-wicket. Grant Stewart was never going to make it, and he was the closest fielder. 112 for 4.
Yeah, it's almost tennis shot, that, isn't it? Double-handed backhand.
This serve. Yes.
Didn't quite get over the net. 12 for 4.
First service. Miles away from the box.
So
At 10 off it, yeah.
Weatherly's playing important knock here, isn't he? 35 off 23. There's not been many fireworks from him, but he's going at 152 strike rate.
54 needed from 26. As Stewart comes in again. Pulled away by Joe Weatherly in the air. Zach Crawley couldn't quite get there, but did well to palm the ball in front of him there to come through for a quick 2. Crawley's done well there.
Yeah.
He couldn't quite get there for the catch, which he tried, and then having not quite got there, made sure he got behind the ball to make sure it didn't go past him.
It's a real tough take that one, isn't it? Bouncing just in front of you, going up towards the teeth. He's managed to stop that and get a throw in. They come back for 2 though. Yeah, it's an expensive over, 12 off it so far. Much needed for Hampshire. That's roughly where they are in terms of required rate. Plus they've got this ball of Stewart's to go.
There comes Stewart then, 52 off 25 needed, and worked up on the onside by Weatherly. Are they going to get 2? The ball's in the fielder's hands. Wisely they say no, and that's just the 1. But scoring off every ball there, that is a pretty good over from Hampshire point of view. They now need 51 from 24 deliveries, and Joe Weatherly's moved on to 38 from 25.
Yeah, still a bit behind maybe here, Hampshire, but Weatherly and Fuller both hitting the ball well. And that was the most expensive over from Kent for a while. In fact, was it the most expensive in 12? But there we go. It's 115 for 4. No time for a count back. Xavier Bartlett having a chat with his captain, Sam Billings. Probably rather the other way around, actually, as Billings has come to talk to the Australian. He's got 2 to...
I think you should run up to the keeper's end and have a chat and then run all the way back.
Innings, as we know, he's vocal. You hear him on stump mics around the world in franchise cricket, as I've said many times before. And if the crowd's quiet enough, you can quite clearly hear him organising the field as well. Weatherly will face. He's on 38 from 25. Bartlett's got 2 to bowl, so it's death bowling for him here. And starts this mark here, running away from us. Weatherly on 38 now, as Bartlett bowls to him. Swings, doesn't get much of it, it's up too long on, and it's just a single as Crawley fields. Just looking at the resources they got left, actually. I haven't checked that before, but Stewart's got just 1 to bowl. Swanepoel has 1 as well, I think. Yeah, so that'll be it. 2 from Bartlett, and presumably 1 from Stewart, 1 from Swanepoel to finish for Kent. Bartlett trying to do some damage here to Fuller, take some pace off the ball there. It's again found Zach Crawley. This one's off the middle of the bat though from Fuller, and he'll take himself a single.
22 balls left in this game and 49 runs needed. The run rate as good as 13.5 and over from here on in.
I think Bartlett could be key to this. Let's see there. Maybe he'll be the star he was in the Big Bash in the T20 Blast, and bowls now to Weatherly down the leg side, and that very much is a wide. It's a slower delivery as well. He's got everything on that. Don't think he thought Weatherly was going outside the leg stump quite that far. 1 to the total. 118 for 4.
And crucially, still 22 balls left in the game.
Yeah.
48 needed now. Fractionally over 2 a ball, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hampshire fans exhorting their team on here. So Weatherly's doing his best. Here's Bartlett to him. Goes across the line there, and the ball's gone nowhere at all. It's just, in fact, Billings comes to pick it up, but he's gone for the down on one knee for the slog sweep, and it hasn't moved off the pitch, I don't think, has it? It's I think it hit bat and pad or whatever, but it's just died in front of him. No run, double.
I must admit, I was looking down the leg side somewhere,
Me
down
too.
towards fine leg, because he very rarely misses that shot, Joe Weatherly.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to blame my eyes, or the height that we're at, or the angle, or the sunlight, or something like that, but I hadn't got off the square. This one's in the block hole from Bartlett, driven by Weatherly out to extra cover, and it's fielded by O'Riordan. So 2 balls to come. Score at 119 for 4, 47 needed, and we're 2 balls from the end of the 17th over. There's a tight one at the moment from Bartlett. He's bowled a wide, but just 3 otherwise coming off it. Again, from a Kent point of view, if they get out of this without a boundary being hit, I think they very much have the advantage. Bartlett then to Fuller on the leg stump. Close to the face on that. I'm not sure he entirely intended it to go to fine leg, but he was going a little bit squarer than that, but fielded by Stewart. And there's a single. So ball to come of the 17th. And so far this has been a good one from Kent. Can they counter this perhaps with a big hit from Joe Weatherly, who's 40 from 28?
4 runs off the bat and a wide.
Yeah, this last delivery so far. Bartlett number 20. As he bowls now to Weatherly, who does swing the bat. This, oh, a lovely shot, cracking extra cover drive for 4 runs. Goodness me, they needed that, Hampshire. They really did. 124 for 4. And that just keeps it within their arc here.
So 42 runs are needed with just 18 balls left in this match. Neil Halsworth, Explorer Coffees, other coffee companies available, of course. solidcricket@gmail.com says, I'm also absent from the bowl today as I had to take the youngest son to karate grading over in Worthing. I'm pleased to report that Hugh is now a first Q, K-Y-U. Do you know your karate? I don't, I have no idea. Apparently it's 1 off a black belt in brackets. And we have you on live stream now as we're safely back in Gosport. Thank you very much for that, and congratulations. Right, we're at the very business end of this game, and Hampshire really do need a big over somewhere pretty quick. Don't really want to leave it to the last over. One of these last 3 overs, preferably this one or the penultimate one, needs to be a big over. 42 needed off 18 after 17 overs. Kent were 143. So they've always been ahead, haven't they? There've always been a few runs. There's always been that cushion throughout the Hampshire innings. So there's a big chat going on now between Sam Billings and Swanepoel, who's got 1 over left, the South African. 3 overs, none for 16. He's done a good job so far. Part of the Sunrisers Eastern Cape side. A.D. Burrell's Sunrisers Eastern Cape that won the South African T20. Probably doing now what he was employed to do in that competition as well, although he only played 5 matches.
Yeah, looks like Stewart then will bowl the last over. If it goes to the 20th, that'll be, the partner on this end, I would think.
Here we go then, Swanepoel from the pavilion end. Bowls, Fuller cracks it away on the onside. It's in the air. Has he got enough on it? He has, over mid-on, 6 runs. Wow, what a strike. Length ball. Fuller cracked that away, cross-batted. The ball just sailed and kept going way over the fielder's head. That's a big hit.
Now then, that makes it very interesting indeed, doesn't it? So, just about 2 a ball now, 36 off 17 required.
Yeah. Fuller on to 18 from 13 deliveries. Here's Swanepoel again, bowls, and Fuller hits that away again. This is more runs. How many is it? I think it's 6 more. It is over the advertising boards in front of the pavilion, straight over the bowler's head. 6 more, a flat 6.
And that's a 50 partnership up as well. Joe Weatherly 26 of those, and James Fuller a little bit coming lately with that 24 with consecutive 6s. And Kent need to stop the damage here. Daniel Bell-Drummond, his experience going over to Bayers Swanepoel for a quick chat about James Fuller. Well, perhaps Kevin James, Hampshire have timed this just perfectly.
Well, they still need a couple more, really, don't they? It's slightly less than 2 a ball all of a sudden, but it's still as good as 2 a ball. 136 for 4, 30 needed from 16 deliveries. Swanepoel comes in again as Fuller strikes that again. Has he got enough on that? 6 more straight. I can't believe it. That's 3 6s off first 3 balls of Swanepoel's over. That only just got over the rope. It was a little flatter. It was catchable height, but the fielder couldn't get there in time. 3 6s off 3 balls. 24 of 15.
I was saying earlier in this innings, wasn't I, that this just hasn't happened in this game. We haven't had boundary at any point from either of these sides. It's not looked easy to do that. He's just teeing off at the moment, with James Fuller.
Well, Billings and Bell-Drummond now are having a long chat with Swanepoel. I mean, he's got to get it right up there. I don't know if he was trying to get it up there, and it was just nicely in the slot for Fuller. But he's got to try something different. Fuller is now 30 off 15 deliveries. Hampshire 24 needed off 15. He's looking a lot better than it was just a few minutes ago, thanks to James Fuller, but he still needs to keep going. Maybe not 6 every ball, but he needs to keep going. Here's Swanepoel, bowls, Fuller swings short, and it's gone through to Billings. They're asking for the catch behind, and the umpire gives him out, and Fuller goes for 30. There was the change of tactics. It was the short ball just outside off stump. Fuller got an ever so slight tickle as he tried to pull that away on the onside. And Fuller goes for 30 off 16 deliveries.
Goodness me. Well, this is the way that T20 swings one way to another, isn't it? With James Fuller brought it right back into Hampshire's control, you'd think there. 24 to win now off 14 balls. But they'll have to do it without James Fuller as he goes. But he's very much done his job with those consecutive 6s. And superbly done. 30 he goes for, but he may well have turned the tide for his side here. We're coming 2 balls shy of the end of the 18th over, so 14 balls to come. As I said, 24 for Hampshire to make, or for Kent to defend here at 142 for 5. And this really is game on for both sides.
Yeah, certainly made it interesting. 59-run partnership broken in 5 overs by Swanepoel there. And Benny Howell, who will have been in these situations many times, mainly with Gloucestershire, trusted now with trying to see out this game for Hampshire. We have in this game now 14 balls remaining, and Hampshire need 24 to win. We can have a tie. 23 would give them a tie, which do you think either side would take that right now? Could go either way, can't it really? The swing, there's a bit more momentum now with Hampshire, given to them by that Fuller innings. So we've got a mid-wicket in now for Benny Howell. As Swanepoel comes in, 142 for 5 the score. Howell comes down the wicket, good full delivery outside the off-stump. Bowell can't do anything with it, goes through to Billings.
Yeah, it's good bowling for Swanepoel as well, who had every reason to have his confidence shaken or his line shaken, but Again, he's gone full outside the off stump this time.
Good comeback those last 2 balls after 6-6-6. The 6 sixes in the over was on, but he's come back well with a wicket and a dot ball. Third man comes up now, as does fine leg. So this will be a full delivery to Benny Howell. I'm sure he knows that as well. Sonny-Paul bowls, heaves that away on the leg side. It's in the air but not timed. Ball just balloons out on the leg side. They'll get 2. 2 runs it is. The ball just trickling out to the 30-yard circle. There's always 2 if you run straight away, and they both did. So 2 runs off the final ball of the over, which means Hampshire now need 22 from 12 deliveries, 11 and over.
Yeah, and I'd say Hampshire probably just nosing ahead here with that assault by James Fuller. Kent have it all to do here. Xavier Bartlett, they need a really accurate over from him to try and force it into the last over with a competitive total to bowl at. None for 24 for Bartlett so far. Swanepoel 1 for 36. That 18 really did ruin his figures, didn't it? Goodness me. Almost ridiculous to say without those 3 sixes. He'd have had 1 for 18 or 4 and looked absolutely brilliant, but James Fuller instead was the man taking the plaudits. 12 balls to come then. And 22 to win. Bartlett then, bowling to Weatherly. Slower ball on leg stump, it's smashed back past the bowler on the ground. That'll be 4 runs. Great answer, waited for it and dispatched it to the boundary along the ground. Perfectly safe, perfect timing. 18 off 11 now. Hampshire surely favourites.
Now the last 7 balls really have swung this game a little bit more in Hampshire's favour. 18 off 11 needed now.
Probably need a wicket or 2 here, Kent, to get themselves in with a chance of winning this now. So Bartlett bowling to Weatherly, goes full on the leg stump. It's turned into the leg now, and it's a single taken. So 17 off 10 now. With 5 wickets down, Hampshire need. Seem to be a way off. End of the 16th over, 115 for 4. But even 124 for 4 at the end of the 17th. And that's when that over from those 3 balls almost. That's how T20 can turn from James Fuller, the 3 sixes. Bartlett then to Benny Howell. There's 2 so far. He drives this one into the offside. They'll just take a single. Denley throws back in. So that brings on the Hampshire Hawks. Tension added. 150 on the board.
9 balls left. Ideally, from a Hampshire point of view, you want another boundary between here and the last over,
yeah,
at least a boundary.
Double figures to get in the last over might be tricky.
Yeah.
Well, Fuller was still out there, and they've still got batting who can do that as well. But 150 for 5. Kent hoping to keep it well above that. Bartlett then bowling up in the air. Will this be caught by Crawley at long on? It will indeed. He holds out. Does Joe Weatherly. Finally goes for 49. 1 short of his half century of 31 balls, and Hampshire Hawks are 150 for 6.
Well, good innings that from Joe Weatherly. 32 balls it actually was in the end with that wicket. 6 fours for Joe Weatherly. But just when you need one of these 2, Fuller or Weatherly, to see it home, they both go. A bit like Billings and Joe Denley both went quite quickly together, didn't they, really, when they were going along nicely, putting on their 60-run partnership for the 4th. Well, the man of the moment on Thursday night might just be the man of the moment again, walking to the wicket. Liam Dawson, who hit a quite stunning 30 off just 12 deliveries against Surrey. And I think he might be needed to do something very similar here.
Well, a couple of big shots at the end of the over could more or less win it for Hampshire here from him. If he can make it happen. Xavier Bartlett gets his first wicket. He's bowled pretty tightly. 6 off the over so far with the wicket. 8 balls to come, 16 needed for Hampshire Hawks. Again, trying to defend that right now. As a hush descends on the Utilita Bowl. Bartlett then does bowl to Dawson. He's cut that away into the offside, and there'll be just a single. So 15 off 7.
It really does need a boundary, ideally.
It's going to be very tight if not.
There's a lot of runs to get off the last over otherwise.
A conversation between Dawson and Howell. I wonder if he does say to Howell here, and Howell might have it in his mind, just swing here. Because you'll have Dawson at the striker's end for the last over. I wonder if he will. As Bartlett will bowl to him. Cat and mouse of T20 Blast cricket. Last ball of the 19th over. He does swing, it's up in the air, is it going? It's over the boundary for 6. He did. He chanced his arm, Benny Howell, and he might just have put his side in the winning position. 6 runs for Howell. And they'll need 9 for the win then, Hampshire, off the final over.
What a time to hit a maximum. I'm slightly surprised at that ball bowled by Bartlett. I mean, he may have been going for the Yorker and just got it wrong, but it was right in the slot. And you just knew from the moment the ball arrived to Benny Howell that he don't miss out. He don't miss out on that. That's why he's here. That's why he's back with Hampshire, to play shots like that at important times. That 6 really has made a huge difference to the equation, because we get to the last over now, 6 balls and 9 are needed. 8 for the tie, but 9 looks an awful lot better when it could have been 14 or 15 even if it had been a dot ball.
I think you're right. 9 and over has looked gettable for both sides throughout this contest, I'd say, and so Hampshire keep their nerve here, and so they've got every chance. I'll put them at favourites certainly at this point.
Well,
Kenny
yeah,
have to bowl really well to keep it down below that.
To get to this point now, 9 off the last over, you take that every time. Big responsibility on Liam Dawson's shoulder, even bigger responsibility now on Grant Stewart's shoulders. I just get the feeling that Sam Billings has gone for broke with his overseas players bowled out, gone a bit early and kind of left it. This happens, doesn't it? You kind of lift, Grant Stewart can still bowl, don't get me wrong, but he's not, he's not quite the same as the 2 overseas guys. And you kind of hope that the pressure's so much on the last over that it almost doesn't matter who bowls the last one. But actually now, with Hampshire's slight favourites, Grant Stewart's going to pull something out the bag.
That's the psychology, or even the tactics of it, is you don't want to leave deliveries from your gun bowlers, your overseas bowlers.
That's right.
You don't want them winning with 3 balls to spare, right. and Bartlett not to get a bowl out of spell. So, so Grant Stewart is going to have to have ice running through his veins for this one, I think.
Well, not surprisingly that Sam Billings is having a long chat with Stewart. Even the umpires saying, look, come on, get on with it. It's an important over, it's an important few deliveries. You can understand why Billings is taking his time, and Stewart, but the umpire's saying, look, you're probably just taking a little too long here.
I just wonder if the cut-off, well, I suppose they were in position to bowl the last over before.
Well, there's only 4 out.
Maybe not then.
There was only 4 fielders out, so perhaps
15,
not.
53 out there.
So here we go then. 6 balls left, 9 to win. It's Dawson to face Grant Stewart. Stewart bowls, Dawson heaves away on the leg side. Should only be 1. Cut the bounces to Zach Crawley. 5 balls left with 8 needed. 7 to tie. Benny Howell on strike.
No, it's a good spot. There's only 4 out. They're all on the leg side.
So they have been penalised here, Kent. The crowd are not liking Sam Billings running up to the bowler all the time. It's the last over, so they basically can take as long as they want now.
And because they're a fielder down in the outfield, because they've already gone over the watershed.
There's what the crowd think of it.
It gets the crowd into it as well.
Well, it doesn't help the fact that Billings has got to run from behind the stumps one end to behind the stumps the other. If your captain's at mid-off, it makes it slightly easier. 158 for 6, 8 needed from 5. It's Dawson to face, and Dawson heaves that away on the leg side. It's in the air. Crawley's under it, takes it. And Dawson has gone, bangs his bat. He's really disappointed with that. In fact, it might be Howell, actually. I'll tell a lie, it's Howell that's gone. Apologies. Howell bangs his bat as he makes his make bat. It didn't come out the middle. Went for the huge hoik on the leg side, and Howell goes for 9. It's 158 for 7.
Yeah, and almost as important as the wicket going down, it's a dot ball, isn't it? It's 8 from 4. Grant Stewart has the wicket. It's a good catch from Crawley. He's made both his catches this afternoon look deceptively easy, I think. Around the boundary, 158 for 7 then.
4 balls remain. 8 runs needed, 7 for the tie. It's worked quite well in Kent's favour, this, because the final over, anybody trying to heave it away on the leg side has got the slightly bigger boundary to do it. So you normally try and do that in short format cricket. Now Michael Nisa, Hampshire's overseas player, one of 2 of course, walks to the wicket. Strike rate of 121. That might just have to be improved a little bit in this situation. But he can bat, and he's going to be needed here for sure. Dawson and Nisa at the crease. Dawson was on the 9 strikers end with 2 from 2. Stewart now has 1 for 32 with 4 balls left of his 4th over. 8 needed from 4 deliveries. Stewart comes in from the pavilion end, bowls to Michael Nisa, and that is a length ball. Nisa tries to pull that away on the leg side, will get a single as the ball literally just comes off a glove, I think, on the leg side. There's a good position that, having that mid-wicket in there by Kent, because they might have got 2 otherwise. So just the 1, and 3 balls remain and 7 are needed. Remember, 6 gives the tie. Wonderful game of cricket.
It is one of those fantastic T20 Blast finishes, isn't it?
165 for 9, Kent. Hampshire 159 for 7. 3 balls remain of this contest. There's no doubt about it, those 3 sixes in a row from James Fuller just lifted the crowd and really got them in to this game. Not that they weren't, but they just needed a lift, and Fuller certainly gave it to them. And then Benny Howe, the next over with that 6, has helped. Here we go then. Here's Stewart, bowls to Dawson. Dawson pulls that away. I think he's got hold of that. Oh my word, he has! And that's going for 6 over backward a square leg. Denley just watches it go. Liam Dawson, again. He hasn't quite won it for Hampshire, but he just about has.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 needed then from 3 balls. It's a colossal shot from Liam Dawson. Once again, he's going to be the man of the match for Hampshire Hawks, unless Kent do something extraordinary here. They need 2 dot balls. A single gives Hampshire a tie, and I think this will be a very long conference. Will it for Kent? Well, they've got the ball back. They haven't got the ball back yet, so they can take as long as they like, I suppose, over that.
Well, you can certainly understand Sam Billings taking his time now, because he's got to get the field right, because 1 needed, the fielder's got to be close. There is a fielder at deep square leg, which I could quite understand, because of course that's an area where Dawson's just hit it, although he'll need to be about another 20 yards back if he wants to catch like the one before. But my word, now listen to the crowd. What a difference that's made. Hampshire's innings have come alive in the last 3 overs. They need 1 to win from 2 deliveries. The scores are level, 165 apiece, although Hampshire's have lost 7 wickets to the 9 wickets that Kent lost, and the field is very close in. 1 clean strike, as long as it's not in the air down towards square leg, and the game's all over. Or a scrambled single. Here's Grant Stewart then, penultimate ball of the game. Comes in then and bowls to Dawson. Dawson works that away. He's got an edge. It's just floating over. Oh, he's caught. He's not. He's put down. He's been put down. They didn't run. Well, they did run. I'll tell a lie. They have run. Oh my word. That was put down. That short third man by Joey Everson. It was a difficult catch. He was right on the 30-yard circle, running backwards towards the rope, but he couldn't quite hold on, and they scrambled the single, and Dawson's done it again, and Hampshire have won this game by 3 wickets with a ball to spare.
What a finish that was, indeed, and just that drama at the last as well, with Joey Everson just grounding that catch at the end of the game, but yeah, so close.
We're just going to hand back to Radio Silent Frequencies in a moment. We'll just stay on for another couple of minutes as the crowd start making their way out. But what a game we've had here at the Utilita Bowl. Liam Dawson once more the hero here with 9 or 4 deliveries, 166 for 7. Listeners on all frequencies, you're going back to Adam Blackmore. We're staying on Kent DAB, and we're also staying on the picture feed and BBC Sport Online just for a minute or 2, just to sum up that game. Matt, that could have gone either way for a long period of that Hampshire
reply.
Absolutely.
It Kent's innings seemed to stutter a bit late on. They went fast in the power play, went really hard, but Hampshire, their bowling proved perhaps the difference between the two sides, notwithstanding James Fuller's assault towards the air, and Chris Wood was fantastic. They kept it very, very tight indeed, and they took a much slower approach, Hampshire, didn't they? A much more considered approach at the start of their innings, but I'd have to say it, where are we? 115 for 4 at the end of the 16th, 124 for 4 at the end of the 17th. It really looked like Kent were going to win that. But we said, unless something extraordinary happens, unless there's a T20 winning innings, and almost James Fuller in 3 balls changed that game around.
It certainly did, yeah. A good crowd here, which are starting to make their way towards the exits. They've seen a great game here this afternoon. They're going home happy. That's now 1 win apiece now for both Hampshire and Kent. It's a win and a defeat for Kent after they beat Middlesex, and Hampshire after being defeated by Surrey. They've won this game here by the narrowest of margins. That's why we love T20 cricket. It can go either way. Another time, of course, it can quite easily be a Kent win, but what a game we've seen. Yeah,
those last 12 balls were absolute thrillers, as you said. Each ball could have gone either way, and kept us right on our toes right to the end. For Kent supporters, disappointment for the team as well. But they'll eventually, I suppose, be able to think to themselves they played a really good part, and it's got really very, very close to beating Hampshire on their own turf, which will be quite a scout to take as well.
Matt, thank you very much. Matt Cole from BBC Radio Kent. And, safe journey back, and hope you've enjoyed it. I think we've certainly enjoyed it. Hopefully you could tell in the commentary. As I say, it doesn't matter who won that at the end. It was a cracking game, and that's what you want to see. A game that swings first one way and then the other, and then backwards and forwards and what have you. But well done to Hampshire, and of course plenty more T20 cricket to come over the next few weeks.